The following programs were originally aired live, long before the advent of high fidelity, and they were recorded using a variety of means, from direct recording onto early audio tape and glass records, to simply placing the microphone of a wire recorder in front of the speakers of a radio playing the program. I hope, however, that any variance in audio quality will not take away from your pleasure in listening to these, some of the all-time favorite shows.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Next guest will give you the laughs, just don't ask him to lend you money. It's Jack Benny coming up next.
The Jack Benny Program. Quality of product is essential to continuing success. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed. So free and easy on the draw. LSMFT, LSMFT, LSMFT.
You said it.
Yes, sir. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed. So free and easy on the draw.
Sold American.
It takes fine tobacco to make a fine cigarette. And Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, at tobacco auctions now open, independent tobacco experts can see the makers of Lucky Strike consistently select and buy the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder Lucky Strike tobacco. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike.
From New York City, the first stop on their March of Dimes tour, we bring you the Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Larry Stevens, and yours truly, Don Wilson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we take you to Jack Benny's room at the Sherry Netherland Hotel. Jack is waiting for the gang to show up as they're all going ice skating in Central Park.
East side, west side, all around the town. You'll be able to see it when the snow is off the ground.
Rochester.
Hail and snow together, ice all over the walk. You slip and you slop and you flip and you flop on the sidewalks of New York.
Rochester, stop singing. You know I'm going ice skating, so you better get my things ready.
Okay.
By the way, did you have my ice skates sharpened like I told you to?
I sure did, boss. I had it done yesterday when I was up in Harlem.
Good. Are they nice and sharp?
Sharp? What do you think I shaved you with this morning?
Stop being so silly and get my things ready. As long as I'm going skating, I want you to get out my knickers and press them.
Boss, you better wear your long pants. You don't look good in knickers. Your legs are too skinny.
My legs are not skinny.
They ain't. Remember that time you played Hamlet and had to wear those tights?
Well, what about it?
The theater manager took one look at you and said, if those legs have any muscle, they must be on inside the bone.
What?
You had to tie knots in your legs to make it look like you had knees.
I don't care. I'm going to wear my knickers. Now get them out and press them.
But, boss, you know they have valet service in this hotel, don't you?
I know. What do you think I've got you for?
Me?
Yes, you.
Well, listed alphabetically, attendant, actor, auto mechanic, barber,
Look, Rochester.
bartender, butler, bodyguard, bellhop, busboy,
Look, Rochester.
cook, chauffeur, companion, charwoman, chambermaid.
Rochester, that's enough.
I got more bureaus than the federal government.
Rochester, stop with that talk and start pressing my knickers.
Okay. doorman, dishwasher, duster, dog
Oh,
walker.
Rochester, stop complaining. You don't do so much.
All I know is, anytime somebody asks me to shake hands, I gotta put something down.
Now, you know that's not true. Anyway, I've got to get... Rochester, put down the iron, the whisk broom, and the shoe brush and answer the door. Oh, never mind. Go press the door. I mean the knickers. It's going to be pretty cold in the park, so get out my long underwear. Come in. Well, hello, Mary.
Hello, Jack.
Well, gee, Mary, I'm glad you're over your cold. You sure it's all right for you to be out today?
Yes, Jack, the doctor told me I was completely well.
Good.
Then he kissed me goodbye and said, I'll see you tomorrow.
The doctor kissed you goodbye?
Wasn't that awful?
It certainly was. Fine doctor. When he kissed you, why didn't you slap his face?
How could I? I was holding his bag for him.
Oh, I get it. You wanted him to kiss you.
You catch on fast, don't you, Jackson?
Jackson, yeah. Look, Mary, you don't have to make any outside dates. While we're in New York, I'm going to take you around.
Oh, sure. Just like last year. Before we left California, you said, Mary, when we get to New York, I'm really going to show you the town.
Well, I did, didn't I?
Yeah, from the top of the Empire State Building.
Well, they don't let you up there for nothing, sister. What are you laughing at?
When we got to the top, you looked over the edge, saw a nickel on the sidewalk, and wanted to jump.
I did not want to jump. Anyway, I was just bragging about my eyesight. Pretty good when you can see a nickel from the top of the Empire State Building.
Some eyesight. When you got down to the street, you found out it was a manhole cover.
Yeah. I wish I could find that wise guy that painted a buffalo on it. Anyway, this time, Mary, you and I will really go places.
Say, boss. Oh, hello, Miss Livingston. It's good to see you up and around again.
Well, thank you. I'm feeling fine now.
What do you want, Rochester?
Your shirts just came back from the laundry.
My shirt's good.
Say, that's wonderful service. When did you send him out?
I don't remember the day, but we were still on for Jell-O.
Oh, for heaven's sake. And I thought they were lost. Rochester, are those the shirts we sent out in 1934?
It must have been before that, boss. These have lace collars.
Oh, those. Well, put them away. I'll give them to my writers for Christmas. Say, Rochester, when is my breakfast coming up? Is you ordered from room service?
Yeah, a long time ago.
You want something to eat, Mary, before we go skating?
No, thanks. Say, Jack, I can't get over you living in such a classy hotel as the Sherry Netherlands.
Why?
Well, every other time you came to New York, you stayed at the
The Acme Plaza.
Oh, yes. What a creepy joint that was.
Well, I'll admit it wasn't the best hotel in New York, Mary, but it certainly was conveniently located.
You're not kidding. All you had to do was walk up one flight of steps and you were in the subway.
Oh, Mary, it wasn't that far down. What gave you that idea?
At one end of the lobby, they were mining coal.
They were not.
Then why did all the bellboys have lamps in their caps?
Because the room clerk's name was John L. Lewis. Let's drop it, will you? Come in.
Your breakfast, Mr. Benny.
Oh, good. Put it right over here on the table. Sure you don't want anything, Mary?
No, thanks.
Gee, I'm hungry.
There you are, sir. And here's the check.
Oh. Hand me my glasses, Rochester.
Here you are.
Thanks. I want to see if they have these prices right.
You want me to call your accountant, boss?
No, I can handle this myself. Now, let's see. What? 95 cents? Why, that's outrageous.
You want me to call your lawyer, boss?
Not yet. How in the world could this be 95 cents? Let's see, 20 cents for orange juice. Isn't that awfully high?
Well, you see, sir, we don't grow oranges here. They shipped in from California.
So what? Postage stamps are the same price in California. They come from Washington.
I'm just the waiter, Mr. Benny. I don't have anything to do with the prices.
Look at this. 2 eggs, 40 cents. Do you realize that's 20 cents an egg?
Yes, sir.
20 cents for one little egg. What's in an egg that could make it worth 20 cents?
Well, it's a whole day's work for a hen, sir.
10 cents for coffee. Well, that's all right. Hey, what's that extra quarter for?
That's a 25-cent charge for serving meals in the rooms, sir.
Oh, well, open the door. I'll eat it out in the hall.
Oh, that won't help, sir. But if you don't want the breakfast, I'll take it back.
No, I guess it isn't your fault. 95 cents. Here, waiter, here's $1. You can keep the change. Here.
Oh, thank you, sir. Now I can buy that farm in Connecticut.
Look, just go, will you?
Yes, sir.
Mary, you sure you don't want anything? If you do, I can call the waiter back.
Never mind. I wouldn't go through that again for $8 million.
Yeah, well, I might as well eat.
Yeah, you better hurry up, Jack. The gang will be here pretty soon.
There's somebody at the service entrance. Oh, Rochester!
Just a minute, boss. I'm ironing your long underwear.
Well, open the back door.
I can't. You've got it sewed up for the winter.
That's not the one I mean. Oh, well, never mind. Come in. Oh, hello, Larry.
Hello, Mr. Benny. Hello, Miss Livingston. I'm glad you're over your cold.
Well, thank you, Larry. And by the way, I also want to thank you for dedicating that song to me last week. It was sweet of you.
Well, I was glad to do it, Miss Livingston. Would you like to hear the one I'm going to sing next Sunday?
Yeah, sing it to us, kid, while I finish my breakfast, will you?
Okay.
Swell, kid, swell. Very good.
Say, Larry, I meant to tell you were wonderful on the March of Dimes show we did at Carnegie Hall last night.
Yes, Larry, you were really good. And don't forget, on Tuesday, our March of Dimes show will be at the Academy of Music in Philadelphia, and the following Monday at the Symphony Hall in Boston. So, kid, you haven't seen all the sights in New York. I mean, if you haven't, you better do it in the next few days. You know?
Well, I've been around quite a bit, Mr. Benny. I went to Rockefeller Center, the Statue of Liberty, and yesterday I went to Grant's tomb.
Oh, Grant's tomb, huh? Gee, that's funny. I remember the first time I came to New York. No, I went to Grant's tomb, too.
Yeah, but Grant wasn't in it yet.
Grant wasn't in it yet. Grant wasn't in it yet. Very funny stuff. Very funny stuff. Look, Mary, the minute you come back on the program, you know, you start right in with... Come in.
Hiya, Jackson.
Hello, Phil.
Say, Jackson, now that I'm here, we better grab the skates and let's get on up the Well, Mary, you pretty baby. How are your eyes, ears, nose, and throat?
Oh, I'm fine, Phil.
Yes, sir. She's fit as a fiddle, and I'm her beau. Oh, Jackson, you blue-eyed buffoon, you. You're hot as a firecracker, and you started in as a punk. Hey, Phil, I certainly stole that one from you, didn't I?
Well, you stole it from somebody. I know you didn't ad-lib it.
Don't worry about me, brother. I can think pretty fast.
Oh, sure. You rode up and down in the elevator all day because you couldn't ad-lib the floor you wanted to get off at.
It wasn't that at all. It was just a nice day, and I thought I'd enjoy the ride. That's all. Come in. Hello, Don.
Hiya, fellas.
Well, hello, Mary. I'm glad to see you.
Mary, I'm awfully glad to see you again. Well, kids, I've got my skates with me. Are we all set?
Pretty soon, Don. I got to get into some warm clothes.
Well, you better because it's pretty cold out. Say, Phil, did you take my advice and see the new Frank Fay show?
Frank Fay. There he goes again with that Frank Fay.
Yeah, I saw it last night, Don. But first I went to the Star Club and I had about 5 cocktails. Then I went to the El Morocco and I had about 10 cocktails. And then I went to the 21 Club and matched that number.
Oh, then you went to the Frank Fay show.
Yeah, it's called Harvey.
Harvey, am I old enough to see it?
Well, certainly, Larry. That's the new show in which Frank Fay plays the part of a fellow who's always a little drunk. And he keeps seeing a white rabbit 6 feet tall.
He imagines it?
Yes.
Hey, wait a minute. Something's wrong.
What's wrong?
I saw the rabbit.
Phil, that's an imaginary rabbit, and nobody can see it.
What are you talking about? He came off the stage, sat down beside me, and asked me what I liked about the South.
Oh, my goodness.
Then the rabbit got mad and walked away.
Well, I don't blame him. He was probably jealous because your eyes were pinker than his.
That's exactly what happened.
Exactly what happened. Phil, we've been trying to explain to you that in that play there is no rabbit.
I don't know. They're taking in plenty of lettuce at the box office. Oh, Harris, you...
Oh, shut up. Now, if we're going skating, let's get started.
Yeah,
All right,
let's
let's get going. I want to go look at it.
Oh, gosh.
What's the matter, Mary?
I forgot my scarf and my gloves.
Well, I'll call your hotel and have Pauline bring them over. Mary, you're living at the Astor, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm getting it.
Astor Hotel, 44th and Broadway, overlooking Times Square in New York City.
Operator.
Every room suited to your taste. Bachelor apartments, bridal suites, coffee shop, and spacious lobby.
Operator,
Elevator service, room service, tailor shop, jewelry shop, and radio in every room.
Look, all I want is...
Also, writing paper, pen and ink. Combination writing desk that folds up into a dresser.
I want to get Miss
Daily
Livingston's...
rates, weekly rates, monthly rates, and traveler's checks cashed without question.
There's no question.
So
I
if
just
you're
want...
ever in New York, the only place to live is the Astor Hotel, 44th and Broadway, overlooking Times Square.
Operator, I'm trying to get...
I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up. Goodbye.
Well, how do you like that? Oh, well, Mary, you can wear my mittens. Now, kids, as soon as I get my things on, we'll catch a cab and we'll go to Central Park.
Here comes another cab, Jack.
Taxi, taxi. Gee, it's tough to get a cab in New York. Taxi, taxi. It's 14 that passed us already. Gosh, you think they'd be glad to pick up fares from a swanky hotel like the Sherry Netherlands.
Hey, Jackson, look, here comes another one.
Yeah, it's pulling up here.
Driver, take us to...
I'm sorry, Bud. This cab ain't for hire. I'm through for the day.
Why'd you pull up in front of this hotel?
I live here.
Well, how do you like that? He drove right into the lobby.
Jack, look!
Well, it serves him right. He got stuck in the revolving door. We'll never get a cab standing here. It's only about 8 blocks to the lake. Let's walk.
Okay.
Look out, kids. Look out. This taxi will splash us.
What's the matter, Pop? You're too cheap to take a cab?
No, driver. We've been waiting for one.
All right, hop in.
Come on, fellas, let's get in here.
Okay.
Take us to the Central Park Lake, Bub.
Okay. Strangers here in town?
Well, you might...
I've been living here all my life. Never been further away from Manhattan than you can go with the IRT. Where you from?
Well, a whole bunch of us...
Ain't
come
no
from,
place like New York City, and that includes Brooklyn. Hey, any of you ever been to Brooklyn?
Well, I've...
And don't let anybody kid you, Bud. Brooklyn's a swell dump. And just because he pulled them cranks about Brooklyn, I ain't never gonna read another one of Moe Coward's books. Look, I don't like it when these wise guy writers and radio comics insult Brooklyn. You listen to the radio much?
Well, we're all
Now,
sorry.
you take last Sunday on a Jack Benny program. They had an insulting crank about Brooklyn. And gee, was I glad when Fred Allen dropped in later and he give that Benny the whites.
Now, look, driver.
You see, Benny's sponsor sent Fred Allen over to read the commercial. And that Allen was a scream when he said, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Yes, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed. But unlike Jack Benny's wallet, Lucky Strikes are free and easy on the draw. What a laugh he got with that.
Look, driver,
Then
we're
this
trying
Benny,
to get...
this Benny turns to Allen, and he says, now look, Fred, do you mean by just doing those commercials you manage to eke out a living? Well, this Allen says, well, if it doesn't make you too unhappy, yes. And then all Benny was able to say was,
Wait a minute, driver. Why is it you do such a funny imitation of Allen, such a bad imitation of Benny?
Now, look, Bud, don't blame me. It ain't my fault if Benny stinks.
Now, listen, driver.
Here we are, Central Park Lake, at 60 cents.
Here's your 60 cents, driver. Here's your tip. There.
You want to know something, Bud?
What?
You do a pretty good imitation of Jack Benny yourself.
Never mind, driver. You can go.
Okay. So long.
Well, kids, here we are at the lake. Let's go skating. Come on, last one on the ice is a rotten egg. I'm the first. Look at me go. Da-da-da-da.
Jack!
Da-da-da-da-da.
Jack!
Da-da-da-da-da.
Jack!
What is it, Mary?
Come back here. You forgot your skate.
Oh, I thought I had them on.
Hey, wait a minute, fellas. I want to see something.
Phil, what are you knocking on the ice for?
Shh, quiet, Jackson. I'm looking for Shaky.
Hey, kids, look at Wilson skating around there as though he owns Central Park. Look
Yeah,
at
what's
him.
he so stuck up about? Look at him.
He just found out that lard is back on the ration list.
Yeah.
Hey, kids, you want to see some fancy skating?
Oh, anybody can cut a figure eight.
I know, but watch this.
Well, I'll be darned. LSMFT. Don, that was wonderful. Wait a minute, I got my skates on. Watch me. I'll show you kids some real skating. Here I go.
Phil, help me pick him up.
That was an accident. I'll show you how to skate. Watch me now. Never mind, Phil. I can get up myself. Oh, well.
Are you cold, Jack?
No, Rochester sewed it up for the winter. Gosh, I can't understand it. I used to be the best skater in Waukegan. Well, I'll try it again. There, now I've got it. Whee! What's the matter with me?
Mr. Benny, when you tripped, your hat fell off your head. Here.
Thank you.
And your fur piece fell off, too.
That's not a fur piece. Now give it to me.
Hey, kids, look! There's a fellow over there giving an exhibition. He's jumping over 7 barrels.
There he goes.
Say, that was really terrific.
Wonderful.
Ah, what's so great about that?
What?
Watch me. I can jump over those barrels.
Jack, don't be a fool.
Ah, watch this.
You better not try that, Jack.
Don't worry about it. I was just kidding you guys, making believe I can't skate. Watch this.
Jack, please.
Here I go, right over those barrels.
Oh.
I don't know. He's not over here.
I can't see him either.
Hey, kids, look, he's in this barrel.
Mary, stop peeking at me through that bunghole.
Come on, fellas, let's roll it.
Yeah,
home.
get your hair in there, Jack. Come on.
Now let me out.
We'll
Mary, I'm getting dizzy. Now cut it out, kid. Cut it out. Will you now cut it out? Ladies and gentlemen, to the millions of American servicemen and women overseas, nothing is more important than a letter from home. A letter from a loved one can mean the difference between a man who knows why he's fighting and a man who knows only bitterness and indifference. Don't write worrisome things about such as baby has the mumps or the landlord won't do anything about the plumbing. Write him about the hometown, friends, sports, and the fun you had, and above all, don't wait till news accumulates. And here's another important thing. When you write, always use V-mail. Our planes and ships are hard-pressed for space, and much more V-mail can be carried than regular bulky letters. V-mail is inexpensive, too. It flies overseas for only 3 cents. So remember, folks, write 'em cheerful, fresh news regularly. But be sure to send it V-mail. Also, don't forget the March of Dimes shows. We'll be with you in Philadelphia and Boston. Thank you very, very much.
Well, Jack, we'll be back in just a minute, but first, here's my good friend F.E. Boone.
Sold American.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco because Lucky Strike consistently selects and buys the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder Lucky Strike tobacco.
This fine Lucky Strike tobacco means real deep-down smoking enjoyment for you. So smoke that smoke of fine tobacco, Lucky Strike. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
The famous tobacco auctioneers heard on tonight's program are Mr. L.A. Speed Riggs of Goldsboro, North Carolina. Mr. F.E. Boone of Lexington, Kentucky.
At 45, sold American.
Basil Rysdale speaking for Lucky Strike. LS-MFT, LS-MFT, LS-MFT.
A fact known the world over. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, so round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
Well, this closes another program, and we'll be with you again next Sunday night broadcasting for the Army Air Force at Mitchell Field. Good night, everybody.
Tales of espionage are coming at you with CounterSpy next.
The National Broadcasting Company presents CounterSpy.
Washington calling David Harding, CounterSpy. Washington calling David Harding, CounterSpy.
Harding, CounterSpy. Calling Washington.
United States counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad.
Commencing Sunday, November 5th, CounterSpy reports to the American people will be brought to you on Sundays. Consult your local newspaper for the exact time. Tonight, the case of the carbon console.
Oh, come on, Horace. Must you walk so slowly?
Lydia, this African sun's the hottest I've been under during the whole world cruise. I'm not going to run in it.
Well, we'll never see the native quarter at this rate.
I didn't want to see it in the first place.
You never want to see anything except the bottom of a highball glass.
Well, what's so wonderful about this section? It's dirty, hot, and the natives aren't exactly smiling at us.
Oh, you're just imagining things. Besides, this is atmosphere.
So I smell. I still say, watch where you're going,
Oh,
Lydia.
excuse me. I didn't look where I was going.
Doesn't the white lady have eyes?
Well, I was just...
Or perhaps the walks of my native Tobasteland are not wide enough. I should step in the streets to allow the grand lady to pass.
Look, my wife apologized.
How gracious to a poor, humble native that the American should demean himself so.
Well, I never...
Come on, Lydia, let's get out of here.
Yes, leave. This is our land. Africa for the Africans.
Well, I never. Horace, are you going to let him get...
Quiet and keep walking. I told you the natives weren't really smiling.
But it
at
was
us.
just an accident.
Yeah, that fellow was looking for trouble. See, he's got a crowd around him, Lydia. He's haranguing them.
Oh, he's pointing at us.
Come on, Lydia. We've got to get to the American consulate.
Horace, they're coming after us.
Watch out, Lydia. They're going to throw things.
Horace! Oh! Like that!
Come on, Lydia. This way. Run! That's just the way it was, Mr. Burton. The whole thing started from Mrs. Walters bumping into the native.
I see.
And then the brute started shouting at me as though I'd attacked him. I was never so frightened in my life. I still haven't got my breath back. And the stress...
I'll see that restitution is made for the damage, Mrs. Walters.
The devil with that man. You're the American consul here in this heaven-forsaken country. Can't you see that American citizens are afforded some protection?
We do our best, Mr. Walters.
If we hadn't reached the consulate grounds, we might have been killed.
Mr. Walters, I'll enter a formal protest to the government of Tobasteland.
All right, and by gosh, you tell them that if they can't keep law and order here, we'll come over and do it for them.
I know how you feel. Mrs. Walters, I'll want you to dictate a formal statement of what happened to my secretary.
I certainly will, and I remember everything. You ready, Mr. Burton? She's one of them. She's
Mrs. Walters, please. Orissa, there's been another anti-American outbreak. Mr. and Mrs. Walters here were the targets of it. I want you to take down their statement of the incident.
Yes, Mr. Burton.
Make several copies. I'll want one each for the authorities here, President Dinard and Police Chief Manaka. And, of course, be sure to send a copy to the African desk of the State Department, Washington. They may want to take drastic action.
If Mr. Peters is in the CounterSpy Statistical Department, will he please report to Mr. Harding immediately? If Mr. Peters is in the CounterSpy statistical department, will he please...
Hello, Mr. Harding. I didn't think you'd gotten back from the State Department so quickly.
Everything happens quickly these days, Peter.
More trouble overseas?
Yes.
Asia?
This time, Africa. But it's all part of the same picture. Tobasso-land, one of the few non-colonial countries on that continent.
Oh, yes. The papers yesterday. Anti-American riots.
Yeah. Bad for us.
The State Department going to take any action, Chief?
Well, they may have to eventually. But first, they want to get a better picture of what's happening in that country.
So?
So, Peters, I want you to go through the personnel records of all our CounterSpy agents. Extract the records of all our Negro agents. Get them here as soon as possible.
Okay, Chief.
We've got to work fast. The State Department wants to find out whether this anti-American feeling is foreign-inspired before they're forced to make any more protests to the government of Tobasso-land.
President Dinar, my country has asked me as consul to hand you, as head of the government of Tobasso-land, this note, formally protesting the treatment of our nationals in your country.
I accept the note, Mr. Burton, with regret, and assure you that we will do all in our power to apprehend and punish the instigators of this disorder.
And now, Mr. President, may I presume to be less formal?
Yes, of course, Mr. Burton.
And unofficial?
Yes?
While awaiting your arrival, I've been talking to your state police chief, Manaka, here. He has some interesting ideas.
I'm sure he has.
I have only tried to be helpful, Mr. President.
I see, Manaka. Now, these interesting ideas, what are they?
I prefer that you hear them from the lips of Mr. Burton. He may give them more weight than a mere police official can.
Your modesty is most unusual, Manaka. Go on, Mr. Burton.
Well, as your chief explains it, Mr. President, the main difficulty of law enforcement here is one of tools.
Weapons, you mean?
Yes, Mr. President.
I can hardly agree, Manaka. It was one man who incited this riot. Surely, if you find him, it will take no more than one weapon to arrest him.
Admitted, Mr. President, but one man is but a single grain in the sands of unrest that surround us. Had I weapons, an efficient police force, I would soon quell this anti-Americanism in our country.
The force quells nothing. Or do you agree with my chief, Mr. Burton?
Well, after all, when I came here to take up my consular post a year ago, I was kidnapped, held for 5 hours by insurgents.
Yes, that is a painful reminder, Mr. Burton.
It might well have developed into a serious international incident if it hadn't been for my prompt liberation by Chief Manaka here and his officers.
I know that, Mr. Burton, and I was grateful to you for minimizing the affair to your government.
Then why not listen to Mr. Burton's advice now?
You both urge me to request the United States government to send us arms and possibly even advisors to help us administer the internal security of Tobasso-land. Is that it?
Exactly, Mr. President.
Do that, and we will be able to cope with any disorders that arise, no matter how grave they may be.
I'm afraid I must still disagree with you, gentlemen.
But
I am well aware that there is much discontent in the country, and that in some manner that discontent has been channeled against America, Mr. Burton.
In that case, why
Importing American arms and advisors would do nothing but crystallize the unrest. Put your country in the light of an invader. No, Mr. Burton, before I take any such step, I want to discover the reason for this sudden upsurge, this hatred many of my people have for all that is American. If you or your government can assist us in this, I will gladly accept your help. That, Mr. Burton, you can report to Washington.
This way, Carter.
Right behind you, Mr. Peters.
Mr. Harding, this is Agent Lincoln Carter.
How do you do, Carter?
Hello, Mr. Harding.
Have a seat.
Oh, thank you.
Will you want me, Chief?
No, Peters. I'd rather have you set about arranging the details of Carter's transportation, if you will.
I'll get right on it, Mr. Harding.
Doesn't sound as though I'm going to be in Washington very long, Mr. Harding.
No, you won't be, Carter. Not if you're the right man for this job we have.
I hope I am, sir.
Now, let's see. According to your personnel record, you went to Howard University, got a B.A. and M.A. there.
That's right.
Then you did postgraduate work at Columbia, earning the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, huh?
Yes, sir.
Your thesis for your doctorate was on African languages and dialects. Is that correct?
Correct, Mr. Harding, but...
You, speak these various dialects?
Many of them. The study of African culture and history has been sort of a hobby with me.
Uh-huh.
Something like a Mayflower descendant tracing his antecedents.
Yeah, I see. Well, tell me, do you know much about the country of Tobasso-land?
If it doesn't sound too immodest, quite a bit. As one of the few Negro republics outside of Liberia, I've naturally been interested in it.
Yes, so is the State Department.
Yes, I know. I've been reading in the papers about the recent outbreaks of anti-Americanism there.
You have any opinions on that?
Well, frankly, I've been puzzled. The history of that country has always oriented it toward America. We've helped and aided her in many ways. Why this sudden outburst should occur is beyond me.
Now, come over here, Carter. Take a look at this map. Let's consider the question from the viewpoint of geography.
What do you mean?
Well, Tobasso-land could be the eastern doorway to Africa. A foothold there, and any power from the east could gradually spread throughout the entire continent.
Oh, you think Russia
Now,
might...
thinking is unimportant. It's knowledge that counts. Because if the State Department's suspicions are true, it means a reformulation of our policy in that area of the world.
I can understand that, sir.
And it's going to be up to you, Carter, to find out if those suspicions are true.
The job you were speaking of?
Yes. Now, you'll work undercover among the citizens of Tobasso-land. I want you to find out and report where this anti-American feeling is arising from, and whether it's being provoked deliberately.
I see, sir.
Now, because of the nature of communications in the country, you'll have to transmit your reports by diplomatic pouch.
Through the consul there?
Yes, that's right. He'll be notified to allow you the use of the pouch.
Well, what about identification? Will I carry any with me?
No, except for one simple device to establish your first contact with the consul.
What will that be, sir?
This pencil. Now, wait. I'll break it. There. You take this half.
Right, sir.
I'll see that our consul in Tobasso-land gets the other half. When you present the matching half, that will be your identification.
Then I take it I'm not to report to the consul immediately.
No. In fact, don't get in touch with him until you've compiled as complete a report as you can on the situation.
Yes, sir.
Frankly, Carter, if what we suspect is true, your usefulness will be very short-lived after that first report, because the other side has espionage agents as well.
I understand, Mr. Harding.
Now, I know I don't have to stress the importance of this mission to you, Carter, so good luck. And remember, take no unnecessary chances. You may be facing a crafty and dangerous enemy.
You are listening to the case of the Carbon Consul on CounterSpy. This Sunday marks the premiere of The Big Show on NBC. Not just any big show, it's The Big Show. NBC's hour and a half of comedy, music, and drama, the best of each. The Big Show will be heard every Sunday evening over most of these stations, with Tallulah Bankhead as the mistress of ceremonies. Your stars for this Sunday's broadcast include Jimmy Durante, Fred Allen, Ethel Merman, Frankie Lane, Mindy Carson, Meredith Wilson, Danny Thomas, and a host of others. All this and Tallulah, too. No wonder it's The Big Show. Now, back to CounterSpy.
Yes?
I would speak to the American consul.
Just like that. Do you think the American consul speaks to any native who walks in from the street?
He will speak with me, woman.
Indeed. Then in that case, what name shall I announce?
None.
None. You haven't even got a name.
No one much less tongue than you have. Take this to your master, woman. He will see me at once.
A stub of a pencil. Hardly an impressive introduction.
Must I beg you to take it into Mr. Burton?
I would not.
Please, woman, take it to him. It is most urgent.
Very well. Sir,
Yes?
in here.
Oh, thank you.
This is the man, Mr. Burton.
Thank you, Orissa. You may leave.
Your secretary is a very efficient watchdog, Mr. Burton.
Orissa, treasure. A native girl who went to college in the States. Indispensable to me.
I'm sure she is.
But enough of that. It's a relief to learn that you've finally arrived, Mr. Carter.
I've been here in Tobasso Land nearly 4 weeks.
Well, since I got that pencil stub and the note from Mr. Harding, I've expected you for every day of those 4 weeks.
I had no reason to contact you before.
You have now?
I think so. I've made a report of my activities these past 4 weeks, and as Mr. Harding undoubtedly explained, I am to submit it to Washington through your diplomatic pouch.
Yes, I know. I have dispatches to send out myself. I'll have Orissa bring it in now. It'll be leaving in the morning.
I'm glad of that, Mr. Burton.
You, uncovered something of importance?
I think so. You, of course, are free to read the report, Mr. Burton.
Thank you. I shall.
You rang, Mr. Burton?
Yes. Bring in the diplomatic pouch, please.
Yes, Mr. Burton.
Now, Mr. Carter, is there any other way I can be of assistance to your mission?
At the moment, no.
Well, suppose I have occasion to get in touch with you.
You shouldn't have, but if you do, I'm staying at a small shack, number 13 Garden Alley.
The pouch, Mr. Burton.
Oh, thank you, Orissa. Orissa, in the future, when this gentleman calls, he's to be admitted immediately.
Yes, Mr. Burton. I'll make certain he's admitted in the future.
That is, if I come anymore.
Don't tell me your first call is to be your last.
It may well be, Mr. Burton. It may well be.
Hello. It is Police Chief Monaco who speaks. Oh, yes. I see. He knows much? Bad. What, you know where he is. Excellent. The address? 13 Garden Alley. It will be taken care of immediately. Goodbye. Barnada.
Yes, Chief Monaco.
There is work for you.
More Americans arriving in our land?
Yes.
It will be simple. Each successive riot becomes easier to incite. I only hope they are as apt targets as those Walters tourists were.
This is not work for a sharp tongue, but a sharp blade.
Blade?
Yes. This American is no tourist, but a spy, and of our color.
Oh?
He must die. There will undoubtedly be a great uproar on his death. So it will be best if you take to the jungles after the job is done.
Yes, Monaco.
I will get word to you when it is safe to return.
As you say.
Now take your blade and call on the man. His address is 13 Garden Alley.
Kerosene lamps. There. I've only... Well, I brought only 2 feet in with me. Yet I see 2 more peeking from beneath that curtain. Very tiny feet, too. I suggest the owner of them come out before I put a bullet through that curtain. Orissa, such a pleasure and a surprise. Seems I won't need my gun after all.
Hardly.
Come a little closer to the lamp, please. The flickering kerosene light scarcely does you justice. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
Curiosity.
A woman has much of that, but still... You were expecting somebody?
No.
Well, I certainly wasn't. We shall see.
Look
out tonight!
No, you don't.
Watch out!
I will cut your heart out!
Not yet, you won't.
The lamp, it's falling!
Let go!
The floor! The curtain! Fire!
What the devil? Orissa.
Mr. Burton, that man who called on you today.
What about him? What are you doing here at this time of night?
I passed the place where he was staying. His shack is in flames. The whole native quarter is going up. I thought...
You thought right, girl. Come in.
I didn't know whether or not...
Call Chief Manaka. Tell him about the fire. Say I'll meet him there and explain everything. This may have grave international repercussions. Chief Manaka.
Mr. Burton.
What happened? Orissa said there was a fire, but this whole block burned to the ground.
Our native quarters do not resist fire very well.
An obvious statement.
Fortunately, we have it under control now.
The drums, the chanting, what are they for?
To appease the fire gods. Many of my countrymen still place their fate in the ancient customs of their fathers. I myself prefer water to fight fire.
Well, at the moment, the drums are useful. I think we can talk safely under their cover.
We can, Burton. And we have nothing to fear.
The CounterSpy agent is dead?
Yes. We recovered his body. Banada's knife deep in his heart.
You have a most efficient sergeant, Manaka.
Your country, and I don't mean America...
Naturally.
...will pay well for this, I hope.
Extremely well.
What about the report you told me about over the telephone? Will that reach the CounterSpy chief?
I shall see that it does. But it'll be my version of what's happening in this country, not his agent's.
Good.
And that, coupled with the death of this agent, will force President Denard to request American arms and men. And that should provide you with a revolutionary situation that you can exploit to the utmost.
And I shall, Mr. Burton. As long as you continue to make it worth my while.
I'll continue. With good fortune and a little effort, we may be able to turn this incident into a long and costly guerrilla war involving the great United States.
Mr. Burton?
Oh, Orissa, I'm glad you waited here.
The fire. Was anyone...
His body was found in the shack. The man who was here.
Oh.
Get a pencil and paper, please. I want to dictate a cablegram immediately. The address is Mr. David Harding, CounterSpy Headquarters, Washington, D.C.
Mr. Harding! Mr. Harding!
Oh, you made good time, Peters. Did you get all the material?
Here it is in this envelope, Chief. The complete personnel records of all employees at our Tabassaland consular office.
Good. Now, I don't know how long I'll be gone, so you take over from me here.
Right, Chief.
If anything urgent comes up, get in touch with me through the consulate.
All right, sir. And good luck. I hope you manage to make someone pay for Carter's death.
I intend to, Peters.
So long, Chief.
Mr. Harding?
Yes, that's right. Mr. Burton?
Yes, sir. I have a car right over here.
Good.
We'll go direct to my office, unless you'd rather pay your respects to the Foreign Office of Tabassaland first.
No, Mr. Burton, your office first. I want to interview all the employees there before taking any other action.
And this, Mr. Harding, is the only employee left to interview. My personal secretary, Orissa.
How do you do, miss? You be seated.
Thank you.
I imagine you want this to be private.
If you don't mind, Mr. Burton.
Not at all, Mr. Harding. I'll be outside if you want me.
Now, Miss Orissa, let's talk about how you were so opportunely on hand for the fire that killed our CounterSpy agent, Mr. Carter. Mr. Burton.
Yes?
I've finished here. I wonder if you could arrange an audience for me with the president and the police chief of Tabassaland.
Right away, Mr. Harding. Will you, want me there?
Yes, Mr. Burton. I definitely want you there.
Mr. Harding, I can only express my deep regret at the death of your man. It will only add more fuel to the strain between our two countries.
Perhaps not, Mr. President.
Oh?
You're aware of what Mr. Carter's mission here was.
To investigate the rise of feeling against the United States among my countrymen.
Yes, that's right.
Had he made any reports to you before this tragedy?
One, which I read just this morning.
May we inquire as to his findings, Mr. Harding?
Of course, Chief Monaca. He reported that the hatred of the United States arose out of local circumstances, that there was no outside provocation, and recommended that the United States aid your country in dealing with this by sending weapons and advisors.
You see, Mr. President, it is as I and Mr. Burton have been saying.
I cannot believe it.
I know how you must feel, Mr. President, but when his conclusion is the same as ours, nothing remains for you but to take our advice.
I wouldn't say that, Mr. Burton.
What do you mean?
You see, the report I read was not written by my agent Carter.
What?
That's right, Chief Monaca.
Then who was it written by?
Mr. Burton, our eminent American consul.
Me?
That's right, Mr. Burton, and I've got two witnesses to that fact. All right, Orissa, come in and bring the gentleman with you.
Hello, Mr. Burton.
Carter. That's right, Mr. Burton.
Mr. Harding, Burton's got a gun.
Look out, Chief.
No, you don't. Carter, see about him.
He's out cold, Mr. Harding.
You attacked him, your own consul?
Yes, Mr. President, but he was not the real American consul.
I don't understand.
You remember, Mr. President, Burton was abducted briefly when he first arrived here.
Why, yes.
And rescued by your Chief Monaca.
Mr. Harding.
The game's up, Monaca. You're assisting another foreign power, the power whom the so-called Burton was spying for.
You can't...
You sent that man to kill me, Chief Monaca. Orissa recognized him as Sergeant Bonata, a member of your own police force.
And when Carter killed him instead and the fire started, he decided to use that fact as a trap for you and Burton.
But how did Carter know Burton was on the other side?
Because Burton was the only one besides Orissa who knew Carter's address.
You'll never...
Stop him, Carter!
You're not getting away. Let go.
Well, you've got a nice right there, Carter. Mr. President, Monaca is a citizen of your country. I'm sure you'll know how to deal with him.
I will, Mr. Harding, but please, one more point.
Yes.
If Monaca and Burton were the instigators of the anti-Americanism, why did they keep insisting on my seeking your country's aid in suppressing that feeling?
Because they were aware, Mr. President, that once such a policy was started, we would have to keep sending more aid and more arms. It would have been another drain on America's might, and there's nothing the power he represented would like better than drain off our strength to weaken us for any major conflict that may eventually come. Well, this at least is one spot where they failed in that strategy, and we'll see that they fail again.
Tune in this Sunday, November 5th, and every Sunday thereafter for CounterSpy. Please consult your newspaper for the exact time. Listen this Sunday for the exciting Case of the Mental Murderer.
The secret tip was correct. The hostile secret agents planned to destroy the sanity of a certain American. Who that man was and how we combated the scheme is the subject of our next report. Listen on Sunday to
Case of the Mental Murderer on CounterSpy. Tonight's CounterSpy program originated in New York, was directed by Marks B. Loeb, dramatized by Palmer Thompson, and featured Don McLaughlin and Mandel Kramer. CounterSpy is produced by Phillips H. Lord.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC.
Hey, man, how about we check in with Fibber, Magee, and Molly next? That sounds good to me.
The Pet Milk Program with Fibber, Magee, and Molly. The first evaporated milk, Pet Milk, presents Fibber, Magee, and Molly with Bill Thompson, Gail Gordon, Arthur Q. Bryan, Dick LeGrand, John McIntyre, Dick Ryan, and me, Harlow Wilcox. The show is written by Don Quinn and Phil Leslie and directed by Max Hutto, with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. Do you know that Pet's evaporated milk is one of the biggest bargains on your pantry shelf? Why? Well, first of all, Pet milk is twice as rich as ordinary milk. And to use it as you would ordinary milk, you mix it with an equal amount of water. Second, Pet milk, good sweet country milk, concentrated to double richness, is just right for coffee. And third, you can actually whip Pet milk. Use it in place of expensive whipping cream for making delicious desserts. Yes, you can use Pet milk, as coffee cream, as whipping cream. And Pet milk costs less than half as much as whipping cream or coffee cream, less generally than ordinary bottled milk. So, when you need milk or cream, get Pet. Pet's evaporated milk. Did you ever realize there's just an eighth of an inch between you and the city jail? Now, you take a window pane. If you look through it from one side, you're a peeping Tom, and you're liable to get 30 days in the sneezer. If you look through it from the other side, you're just an innocent, if slightly nosy householder who likes to watch neighborhood activities, like Mr. Magee of Fibber, Magee and Molly.
Well, what's going on out there, Lookout? Anything I ought to know about that's none of my business?
No, it's been a very quiet afternoon. That woman across the street, you know, the one with the meat cleaver face, she just sent her husband out for a sack of flour.
How on earth do you know what she sent him for?
And he run back in the house and changed his dark blue overcoat for a camel's hair. What would somebody not want to carry if he was wearing a dark blue coat? A sack of flour, naturally.
Or a blonde.
Hmm?
You know, you ought to be on the detective force, dearie.
Yeah, I tried to get on it, remember? I missed 2 points in the examination.
What 2 points?
Not strong enough and no brains. But you know how our police force, it's riddled with efficiency. Hey.
Yes? Has the man come home with the flour?
No, but a car is stopping here. No, it's going on fast. No, it's stopping here. Looks like it's got engine trouble.
Anyone we know?
Nope. Got a sticker on the back window that says YMCA.
Oh?
2 guys getting out. They got the hood up. They seem to be arguing about something. I think I'll go out and see if I can help them.
I'll go with you.
Yeah.
I've been knitting all afternoon, and it'll do me good to go out and get a breath of carbon monoxide.
Okay, well, come on.
Muggles,
Yeah, babyface?
one of these days I'm going to mix up a barrel of cement, and it ain't going to be for no sidewalk. It's going to be for you.
Yeah, but babyface, could I help it if the motor was...
Look,
Yeah?
it ain't bad enough you got to heist a heap from in front of the YMCA. You got to get one with a hairdryer for a motor. So here we are in a square neighborhood with $1 million of express company dough under the seat. The rear full of rods, a Tommy gun in my violin case, and a guy and a dame coming out of that White House and over this way with a helpful look on their pusses.
Kind of a funny situation, ain't it?
Yeah. I'll tell the boys you died laughing. Now beat it quick. Get us another car and a good one. I'll stay here with the stuff in store.
Okay, I'm going.
He looks smarter with that Halloween mask on in the express company.
Hi, Bud.
Huh? Oh, good afternoon, sir. And madam?
Hello.
I was standing in the window, Bud, and I seen that your car busted down in that White House there, and I thought I'd see if there was anything I could do. My name is Magee, and I'm pretty handy with motors, and this is my wife, Mrs. Magee.
Oh, well, how do you do? This is extremely kind of you, sir, but my assistant's on his way for help. Thank you just the same.
Oh, forget it, sir. We're always doing silly things like this.
You with the YMCA, Bud? I noticed a YMCA sticker on your windshield, so I figured you were with the Y.
The Y? Oh, yes, that's right. My name's G.W. Williamson, of the West Side YMCA. Secretary Williamson.
Oh?
Or Honest George, as they sometimes call me.
Too bad you ain't a chiffonnier, Bud. Secretary has got too short drawers for a cold day like this. Don't you get it, Molly? Secretary, chiffonnier, long drawers, short drawers.
Ain't funny, Magee.
Oh, I thought it was quite worthy myself, madam. And it wasn't so much what he said as the way he said it.
Yeah. Yeah. As the stork said when he hired some help to carry the triplets, it's the delivery that counts.
You know, your face looks familiar, sir. I suppose your picture's been in the papers.
Oh, yes, quite often. Though, frankly, I hate publicity.
Well, that ain't the right attitude, Bud. In your work, you got to get all the publicity you can get. Now, you let me take you around town. I'll get you to see that you get to meet the right people, the mayor and the chief of police.
Magee, now it's cold out here. Why don't you fix his car now and make him famous later?
Oh. Yeah, sure. Well, hop out, Secretary. Let me take a look at that motor. You must have a set of tools under the front seat there. Oh, a violin case. You a fiddler too, Secretary?
Well, in a small way, I kind of get a bang out of it. Don't worry about the car, sir. You just run along, and
You sure this is your car, Bud? I notice it's got Massachusetts license plates on it. Ain't that a panic, Molly? Honest George, the Secretary of the Y, with a hot car.
Magee, you'll be the death of me.
You'll be the death of both of you.
What's say on it, John? Or George?
I was just thinking if I don't get away from here pretty soon, I'll be late for my class in human fellowship. You see,
Excuse me, Mr. Secretary. Look, Magee, there's Dr. Gamble. Yoo-hoo, Doctor. We're down here at the curb.
Well, hello there, Molly. And good afternoon to you, too, egg face.
Hi, Nurse Pincher.
Dr. Gamble, this is Secretary Williamson of the West Side YMCA.
Secretary, this is Doc Gamble, physician in Sturgeon and running a black market in bunion pads.
Glad to meet you, Doc.
How do you do, Mr. Williamson? I used to go down to the East Side Y and work out. At one time, I was able to pick up a handkerchief in my teeth without bending my knees.
Heavenly days, imagine that.
You could do that? Well, it's easy the way I do it, lying on my side.
Say, weren't you a professional wrestler at once, too, Doctor?
Yes, while I was working my way through medical school.
Getting to be quite a profession, wrestling.
Yeah. Why'd you give it up, Fatso? Get home one night and find your knees on the wrong side?
No, but I used to walk along the street practicing making ferocious faces until one day I noticed a man following me with a net.
Oh? Who was it?
Clyde Beatty. That was enough. I got a job in the express company.
Oh, well, I've done a little work with them myself. You see?
Well, come on, Secretary. Hop out and let me get out that car.
Oh, now, look, you
wait,
don't
I can...
Yeah, come on now, let him do it. And you and Dr. Gamble come up to the house and have some nice hot coffee, Mr. Secretary. Hurry now, Magee. Get the car fixed.
I'll have this thing fixed before you can say it runs worse than it did before. I'll see you later. Now, let me see. Tools must be under the front. Uh-oh. Door's locked. Where's my jackknife? Here we are. Good thing I'm always locking myself out of my own car. Know how to do this. There we are. Now for the... Ooh. Oh, my gosh. Look at the guns and ammunition. You must be giving that human fellowship talk to a bunch of soldiers, I bet. Now, these Y men do some fine work. Now, let's see now. First, I better yank out some of these wires.
Billy Mills in the orchestra, and You Love Me.
bad Dr. Gamble had to leave for the hospital, Mr. Williamson. He's such a nice man. More hot coffee?
Oh, no, thanks, Miss Magee. Say, do you suppose your husband...
Now, don't you worry your head about McGee. It won't do a bit of good. Oh, by the way, did you say you were from Massachusetts?
Oh, no, that's just where we heisted the car. I mean...
You what, heisted?
Yes. It wasn't running very well, and we heisted it up on the grease rack. Couldn't find anything wrong with it. I was on my vacation.
Oh, well, you just stop fidgeting now. Here, let me take that violin case. It must be getting...
Oh, no, thanks. I like to hold it. It's sort of comforting.
Well, I guess all us musical people are alike. I play the piano, you know. Of course, I can't hold the piano on my lap the way you hold the violin case, but...
Hey, how about a cup of coffee, Molly? Oh, hi, Honest George. Everything okay?
That's my question, McGee. Is the car ready yet? Because
Well, not quite yet. I got the radiator off all right, but then I run into trouble. I stumbled and kicked 3 spark plugs into the sewer. But don't you worry, I'll get it fixed, or know the reason why.
Oh,
McGee always knows the reason why, Mr. Williamson. It's usually because he doesn't...
Come in.
Oh, hello there, Mr. Oldtimer.
Oh, hi, Oldtimer.
Hello there, kids. Hello, daughter. Hi, Johnny. Company.
Yes. Mr. Williamson, this is the Oldtimer.
Oldtimer, this is Mr. Williamson. His car busted down out front. He's waiting while I fix it.
While you fix it.
Yep.
Well, you'll be here for quite a spell, won't you, mister? You got a room in the neighborhood? If I was still married, I'd get my wife to put you
Now,
out.
wait a minute. If you were still married, I didn't know you ever were married, Mr. Oldtimer.
Me either.
Yep. I was married to a girl named Alice at one time, kids. For about 5 minutes.
5 minutes, huh?
Had us a military wedding, daughter.
Yeah?
Very pretty ceremony. I was in the Army at the time. 14 of my officers lined up outside the church as we come out.
Yeah? Honor guard, eh?
Honor guard constantly, Johnny. But after the wedding, well, Alice just completely lost her head.
Really? Got excited, did she?
No, but when we come out of the church, me and Alice made a dash for the buggy under them crossed sabers and, well, poor Alice.
You mean,
Yep, too tall.
Look, McGee, I'll see if I can get that car started myself. I must be
No,
going.
sir,
I
you
think
just relax, boy. I'll get that car back together. By George, with all the YMCA does for this town, anytime I can help out the secretary of the Y, I'm going to do it.
That's right, Jerry, but when are you going to do
Well,
it? Mr. Williamson is anxious to get going now.
Milkman! Hello, folks. Glad to see you. Oh, sorry. You entertaining, pal? Not very.
Come on in, Mr. Wilcox. This is Mr. Williamson. Meet Mr. Wilcox.
How do you do, sir? Glad to know you, sir.
Have a cup of coffee, Mr. Wilcox?
Love it, Molly. You know how I am about coffee with that good, rich, pet evaporated milk in it.
Hello, hello.
Pal. Hey, pass me that pitcher of pet, will you, pal?
Okay, I'll just get out to the street there and watch for my assistant. He ought to be along any minute now.
Oh, sit down and have some more coffee, secretary. Don't be so jumpy.
Ah, you'll love this coffee with pet milk in it, Mr. Williamson. Is something the matter, sir?
He's late for a meeting, Junior. Human fellowship. As soon as I gulp this last cup here, I'll get that car back together.
Oh, it's a shame to gulp down coffee that's as rich and delicious tasting as any coffee is when you use pet milk. That's because...
Well, I got to get started, Junior. I made a little adjustment on the car a while ago, and something fell out of it. Now, I got
What fell out of it?
the motor. As soon as I get that back
Oh, for the love of... Yes, sir. Like I started to say, any coffee drinker knows that a cup of coffee tastes extra good when you use pet milk in it.
Yeah, well, that's fine. But
Of course, that's because pet milk is just good, sweet country milk evaporated to double richness, making it twice as rich and cream as ordinary milk.
Hey,
and besides
look,
that,
Milky.
There's more stuff. Yes, pal.
Mr. Williamson wanted to say something, I think. He
Yeah.
was trying to break in there, but... Mr. Williamson, wait a minute now.
Hey, my gosh, out the door. He sure is twitchy, ain't he?
Now, what's the matter with him?
Well, he's on his way to the YMCA, Mr. Wilcox. The poor man has been sitting here an hour while McGee keeps threatening to fix his car, but...
Oh, gee whiz, I guess he is kind of anxious of that. Well, I'll get out there and get that car fixed. Go ahead and tell Molly about pet milk, Junior. Hey, Williamson, don't go away.
I can't go away, Magee, till I get some transportation. Oh, how did this ever happen to me?
Oh, don't you remember? You and your assistant were driving along on your way to a fellowship meeting, and your car broke down in front of my house, which shows you're just lucky because of it.
Hi, Mr. Magee. Hi.
Oh.
It's me, Teeny.
Oh, hi, sis. I want you to meet a friend of mine. This is Mr. Williamson, Teeny. Honest George Williamson.
Hi, mister.
Well, hello, little girl. How old are you?
6 going on 8.
What do you mean, 6 going on 8? How about 7?
I decided not to be 7, I bet you.
Huh?
I'm going right on to 8.
Why?
Well, if I'm 7, I get Miss Balzer as a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Miss Balzer for a teacher because she's my mama's cousin and she treats me awful mean just to show there isn't any favoritism. And so I'm going to skip her.
Very logical.
Well,
I says very logical.
What is?
Going right from 6 to 8, skipping 7.
Why?
So you won't get Miss Balzer as a teacher.
For what reason?
Because she's your mama's cousin and treats you badly to prove there's...
No favoritism. I know it.
Why are you staring at me like that, little girl?
Oh, I always stare at people, mister. That's because I got a photographic memory, I betcha.
Yeah? A photographic memory, eh?
Sure. I never forget a photograph. I can't remember people very good, but with photographs...
Look, Magee, I think I better go back in and use your phone.
Okay.
Maybe I can get somebody over here to help me get on.
Okay, Secretary. Don't you worry, boy. I'll get this baby running.
Sure you will, I betcha. Before you know it, even.
What do you mean?
Well, gee, it's running right now, mister.
What do you mean it's running?
Look underneath there. It's running like everything.
Oh, my gosh. I left the plug out of the crankcase.
Sure did.
The oil was all leaking. Hand me the wrench. A monkey wrench. A monkey wrench. Oh, this is awful. The oil's so...
Jason, one of the roving kind. She had a dark and a roving eye, and her hair hung down to ringlet. She was a nice girl, a proper girl, but one of the roving kind. Oh, pardon me, she said to me, for being out so late. But if my parents heard of this, oh, sad would be my fate. My father is in politics, he is a righteous man. My mother is an acrobat, and I do the best I can. She had a dark and a roving eye, and her hair hung down to ringlet. She was a nice girl, a proper girl, but one of the roving kind. I took her for some fish and chips and treated her so fine, and hardly did I realize she was the roving kind. I kissed her lips, I missed her lips, and much to my surprise, she was nothing but a pirate ship rigged up in a disguise. She had a dark and a roving eye, and her hair hung down to ringlets. She was a nice girl, a proper girl, but one of the roving kind. So come all you good sailor men who sail on the wintry, wintry sea. Come all you apprentice lads, a warning take from me. Beware of lofty clipper ships, they'll be the ruin of you. What was there? She made me walk the plank, and I sank down so deep in the blue. She had a dark and roving eye, and her hair hung down to ringlet. She was a nice girl, a proper girl, but one of the roving
So you see, Bud, the reason I come back in the house was to tell you something.
What was that?
Well, I got the crankshaft took apart, and the cylinder head off, and the fuel pump disassembled. And then I noticed something. You got a flat tire, too.
Oh, Magee. And now Secretary Williamson will be late for his human fellowship class.
Yes. Well, look, I'll just call up and have an assistant secretary take over. May I use your phone again?
Why, sure, Secretary. Here you are, right here.
Thank you. Hello, operator. Give me Eddie's bookshop. Who? Oh, wait just a minute. Who's Mert?
Just a friend. You tell her not today.
They said not today, Mert. Yeah. May I take this phone into the kitchen?
Oh, sure. We don't want to butt in on any confidential YMCA business. You go right ahead.
Hi.
Yeah.
My, he's an interesting man, Magee.
Sure.
Such fun, really.
Mm-hmm.
I almost wish I was in his YMCA classes.
Yeah?
He's just a boy himself at heart.
Yeah?
Did you know he carries a squirt gun in a shoulder holster?
No kidding. He tell you?
I saw it.
Oh?
I saw it when his coat flapped open. I said, is that a gun you're carrying? And was he embarrassed? You'd have thought I'd caught him carrying a real gun.
Yeah. No, that's a good gag at that. Squirt gun in a shoulder holster. Some fresh kid hits him with a spitball. He whirls, draws his trusty gat, and squirt, squirt, squirt. Very funny idea.
I thought so.
Yeah.
And he read me all about the YMCA out of a circular he had.
Oh?
How it trains boys for good citizenship. How it provides recreational facilities and all that.
Yeah.
And, you know, he looked so interested you'd have thought he was reading it for the first time. My goodness, I never...
Come in.
Oh, for goodness sakes, Ole from the Elks Club. Hello, Ole.
Hello, Mrs. Hello, Magee.
Hi, Ole.
Hey, Magee, look. If that's your car all took apart out there at the curb, I got news for you.
Oh, now, Ole, if you put that car back together again, got it running, you rascal,
No,
you.
Mrs. But you did clear up one tank for me anyway. It was an automobile once.
Yeah.
Magee, you know how messy the sidewalk looked with all those parts laying around? Well, now it looked much neater, you know.
Yeah? Did you pick them up and put them away, Ole?
No, but it's been snowing hard for 20 minutes now, and everything is cold up. Very pretty.
Oh, well, it won't be long till spring. Well, how's the family, Ole?
Oh, everybody's fine, thanks, Magee. My oldest boy, Lars, he got promotion in the Navy.
Yeah?
He was captain of a bottle ship for 2 weeks.
Battleship, you mean, Ole?
Bottle ship, I mean.
Oh?
It was a little boat that took soft drinks out to the big boats. In Florida, it was.
Oh? Pensacola?
Sure, root beer, Pensacola, ginger ale. You know, I miss that boy, Lars.
Yeah?
Him and me was always talking about things, politics and stuff.
What do you think of Atchison?
Who, Mrs.?
Atchison. You know who Atchison is, don't you?
Oh, sure. You think I'm an ignoramus? Yeah. Atchison, he's the fella that owns the railroad with 2 other fellas, Topeka and Santa Fe.
Well, Ole, I can see how you would miss Lars, but you still have your daughters. Let me see now. Your married daughter is named Julia, isn't it?
Yeah, Julia. Julia's going to be a mama soon.
Oh, that's great, Ole. Going to be a mama, huh?
That's what Dr. Gamble say. You know, he's a great doctor, Magee.
Oh, yeah.
A long time ago, Julia go to him with a little head cold.
Mm-hmm.
He gives a prescription for expectorant. 3 weeks later, she's expecting. Well, so long.
Hey, that Williamson's taken a long time to make that phone call. I wonder if he can...
Well, thanks for the use of the phone, folks. I talked to the YMCA, and they want me to get over there right away. My class in human fellowship's waiting for me.
Well, gee, I don't know what to say about your car, Secretary. I'll never get it running by right away.
That's all right. I'm taking your car, Magee. With your permission, that is.
Why, sure. Why didn't we think of that before?
Well, I never thought...
Mayor Latrivia.
Get your hands up, babyface. Drop that violin case on the floor.
Yeah, get your hands up and drop the case, babyface.
Well, my goodness, that's no way to treat a violin. What is this?
Hey, Secretary Williamson is our guest, Latrivia, and I'll have you know that you
This is Babyface Williamson, public enemy numbers 3 to 16 inclusive. The house is surrounded by policemen, Williamson. You haven't got a chance.
You haven't got a chance, babyface.
How did you know he was here, Latrivia? Teeny told us. She recognized his picture in the post office.
I recognize his picture in the post office.
And there's a reward, too.
There's a reward, too.
A reward? Well, if I hadn't have held him here pretending to fix his car while Teeny ran for the car...
Oh, no, McGee.
Huh?
No. You were a fool, too. Let's face it.
Yeah, I sure was. Hey, Secretary, give me back my $10 membership fee that I paid for joining your West Side YMCA.
McGee, for your information, we have no West Side YMCA.
Oh?
All right, babyface. Come on, Teeny. I'll see that you get the reward. See you later, folks. On your way, Secretary.
On your way, Secretary.
YMCA. Young McGee confused again.
Well, he didn't make a complete fool of me, kiddo. Look at all the literature I swiped out of his car.
Fibber and Molly return in a moment. There are some things a baby can get along without and still be a happy, healthy baby. Things like satin pillows and silver spoons. But one thing a baby can't very well get along without is good, nourishing milk. And, other things being equal, the better the milk, the better the baby. And this you can depend on. There is no better milk for babies than Pet evaporated milk. Pet milk has just the right combination of whole milk minerals and vitamin D that enables a baby to build sound teeth and strong, straight bones and to make sure, steady growth. And Pet milk is uniformly rich. It's easy for the babies to digest. And it's safe, always. If you have a baby, ask your doctor about Pet milk, the first evaporated milk, the first food for millions of happy, sturdy babies.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may find hoodlums acting like YMCA men, but you don't find YMCA men acting like hoodlums.
Because it is an organization which builds character, good character and good citizenship. So when you are asked to give your support to the YMCA in your own locality, please do so. It's an investment in Americanism.
As Bud Lynn, an officer of the North Hollywood, California Y, and also top tenor in the King's Men Quartet, says, in reference to supporting this work, don't say why, say why not. Good night.
Good night, all.
The first evaporated milk, Pet Milk, brings you Fibber, McGee, and Molly each week at this time. Be with us again next Tuesday night, won't you? Should a woman stay with her husband even when he decides to go to some lonely, out-of-the-way place where she has no friends and probably won't even have neighbors? Well, you'll hear one answer to that question in Pet Milk's Story of the Week next Saturday morning on the Mary Lee Taylor program. And you'll also hear a recipe worth adding to your collection, the recipe for easy fish chowder, a perfect Lenten main dish. Don't forget now, for the Story of the Week and the Recipe of the Week, tune in next Saturday morning to Mary Lee Taylor on NBC.
Now hear a deadly secret on Big Town. It's next on NBC.
Silver, wait those thrilling days of yesteryear with the Lone Ranger up next.
Hail, Silver, hooray! A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo, Silver, the Lone Ranger.
With his faithful Indian companion, Tonto, the masked rider of the plains fought crime and criminals throughout the western United States. No one could match his strength and courage. It was his ability to judge character that made him the greatest champion of justice the West ever knew. No matter what the circumstances, the man who was honest and innocent could always depend upon the masked rider's help. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver! We're heading for the range country. It's going to be trouble. Hello, Silver! Away!
Helen Barker walked into the living room from the kitchen and stopped in surprise when she saw that her husband was getting ready to go out.
Jack.
Huh? Oh, hello there. Grub about ready?
Everything's on the stove. Jack, where are you going?
Oh, just out.
Out where?
Just down the trail a piece.
Down the trail?
Mm-hmm. I don't figure to be gone long, though. You can hold the victuals for a bit if I'm a minute or two late, can't you?
I suppose, but why don't you want to tell me where you're going? Is there something you think you should hide?
Oh,
Is it, Jack?
Helen, you have to get so curious. When a fella has something to do and you can see you don't want to talk about it, can't you let him alone? Gosh, I'd think
Something's wrong.
Listen, Helen, I don't...
You'd never acted like this before.
But, golly...
And you're not leaving this house until I know where you're going. Jack, you've got to tell me.
Oh...
Please, Jack.
All right, if you have to know. I got a message from your pa, and I'm going down the trail to meet him.
Oh, Jack, no.
Well, I am.
But you can't. It isn't true.
Think I'm fibbing to you?
But I don't understand. You and Father haven't spoken since the day we were married.
Maybe he wants to make up.
I don't believe it.
Then maybe he don't. How do I know? All I know is he wants to see me about something or other, and I don't even let him think I'm scared of him by staying away.
How do you know he wants to see you?
He sent a note.
Or one of his men?
Oh, a stranger brought it. Said your pa asked him to give it to me.
Where is the note?
I don't know. Threw it away, I guess.
Oh, what did it say?
Oh, gosh, when it comes to asking questions...
Jack, what did it say?
Just what I told you. He wants to see me. He'll be at the Grove over west. Didn't say nothing else. If I don't hurry and get started, I'll miss...
I won't try to stop you.
I don't see no reason why you should.
But if you're going, I am going to ask you to leave your gun at home.
Huh?
You heard me, Jack. Leave it here.
What in thunder for?
Because I know your temper. I know how one word can lead to another until they end in a quarrel. I want you to go unarmed because if you quarreled and anything should happen to either of you, I don't even want to think about it.
I ain't gonna fight.
You don't know what you'll do.
Shucks, honey.
Are you going to leave that gun?
Nope, I don't reckon I will.
Oh, Jack.
I'll be careful, honey. I'll find out what your pa wants. And you got my word, I'll be back home inside an hour. Oh, boy. Well, here we are, boy. I wonder where Helen's pa is. Mr. Sampson? Hi, Mr. Sampson. I guess he ain't here yet. But I thought... Say, what in Tunget? It's him. It's him laying there. He's been drilled. What? Who's that?
Look over here.
Who is it?
And take it. Oh!
Hey, fellas, you hear that shot? Where'd it come from?
Over that way, Aunt Warner.
Sounds to me like it come from the grove.
Then we better take a look. Come on. Get up, boy. I'll be. Look at here. Samson's done for. And who's this?
It's Jack Barker.
They had a gunfight.
Jack's coming, too.
Oh, shut up a second, will you, fellas? Now, wait a second, Jack. Don't try to get up till I've had a look at this place where you were shot.
Oh.
Tain't so bad. Just creased your scalp and parted your hair. You was lucky.
Help me up.
Here. There you are.
Jack, how did it happen? What'd you and Sampson fight over?
Huh?
When was it, Jack? What started the argument?
But there weren't none.
Huh?
I never drilled him. I found him just like that. Then somebody yelled, and when I turned to look, they took a shot at me. I didn't even see who it was. That's all I can recollect till right now.
Jack, that's pretty thin.
You don't believe me?
You figure we should when we find you with a gun in your hand and one shot fired out of it?
Was Samson's gun in his hand the same way?
But, hey, this gun ain't mine.
No?
It ain't, I tell you. It ain't. The fellow that done the killing must have left it and took mine. He left it to put the blame on me.
It's all right, Jack.
But I tell you...
Folks around here always knew something like this was bound to happen one of these days, ever since you got hitched to his daughter again his orders.
Wait, fellas, I'm telling
Maybe you killed him in a fair fight.
Listen,
But that'll be for the law to decide. Pete, you'd better ride into town and bring the sheriff. We'll stay here.
Right. Get up there.
Wait. Won't you believe me, fellas? Won't you listen to what I say? I'm not guilty, I tell you.
Jack?
Well?
We ain't got nothing against you personal, so don't get us wrong. But a killing's a killing, has to be dealt with according. So it's just a waste of breath trying to argue with us.
But fellas...
One moment.
A masked man.
A redskin.
A crook.
Don't stop, brother.
You can't.
Gotta watch them.
Me watch them.
What do you want? Is this a hold-up?
No.
Then what
Quiet. All right, Tonto, I'll handle them. You examine Sampson.
Tonto, do it.
Say, what are you up to?
Tonto and I heard the shots just as you did.
Yeah?
You were closer and got here first. But we've seen what's going on.
Huh?
And I have an idea you've made one very serious mistake. Tonto, was I right or wasn't I?
Him still live, all right.
Oh, you hear what he says?
You mean Mr. Sampson ain't dead?
Wait. Will he live, Tonto? You think he can be brought to?
Me not know. Him hurt plenty bad.
Can you help him?
Tonto try.
Good. Then pick him up and put him across your saddle.
Hey, now, wait, you can't
I'm giving the orders here.
You can't
and remember
do
this.
What do you mean?
You can hold Jack for the sheriff. The sheriff can jail him. But in case you're tempted to take justice into your own hands, Jack isn't a murderer until Sampson dies. Here, Silver.
No, you can't get
The
away
first
from
man
that.
to try for his gun stops lead. Ready, Tonto?
I'm ready.
Yep, then let's go. Come on, Silver.
Him up, Scout.
Shoot him down! You fools, hold your fire. Don't shoot. If Sampson's still living, he might get hit. Hold your fire.
This'll do, Tonto. Brain up.
Hold, Scout.
Oh, there, Silver. Oh, boy. Oh. It's a good place to make camp. It's isolated, and there's plenty of cover. You can make things ready while I'm gone.
You ride?
Yes, Kimosabe, to town.
What do there?
I'll call on the sheriff.
Oh.
But I'll be back by sundown. Come on, Silver. Hail, Silver! Away!
At that moment, Sampson's foreman was talking with the sheriff in the lawman's office.
I got a question to ask you, Sheriff.
What's that, Carp?
How do you feel about duels?
Duels? What are you talking about?
Well, suppose there's hard feelings between a couple of hombres. They get to hate each other so much that they finally decide to shoot it out. That used to happen a lot in the old days.
Times have changed. Duels are against the law.
They always was. But somehow or other, the guy who won never got hanged.
You mean the jury to quit him?
Yeah.
Well, I can't answer for any jury. I've seen them do a lot of fool things. But I know what the law says, and as long as I'm sheriff, I'll do my best to enforce it. Unless it's an accident or in self-defense, a man who kills is a murderer.
You'd arrest him?
I sure would. And you can tell your boss that.
Yeah?
You had some reason for worrying about duels, Carp. A man don't ask a question like that for no reason at all. Come on now, tell me the truth. Has old man Sampson been threatening to shoot it out with his son-in-law?
I didn't say that he... Well, you know how he talks.
Yeah?
It might be a good idea if you had a word with him.
You can tell him what I said yourself. And you can add this to it.
What?
If I was him, I wouldn't count on any jury setting me free. The folks in this county want law and order.
I guess you're right.
Sheriff!
What's up?
There's been a shooting in Miners Grove. You better come quick.
A shooting? Anybody hurt?
Jack Barter wounded.
Who done it?
Old man Sampson.
I was afraid he might
But
try...
the old man got the worst of it. He's dead.
No.
Come on.
You gonna arrest Jack?
That's my duty, and that's what I aim to do. Wounded or not, he'll be in jail within an hour. Reckon that'll hold you, young fella. You won't be breaking out of this jail.
You dirty
Now,
fool.
look here, Jack. Being the sheriff, I ain't doing nothing but my duty. The fella said it looked like a fair fight. You both had guns out. You got Sampson, and his shot came close to getting you. Now, maybe you will be acquitted. But that's for the jury to decide, not me. You've got to stand trial.
Doggone it, Sheriff. How many times I have to tell you there weren't no gunfight? Mr. Sampson had been done for when I got there.
That masked gent said he weren't dead yet.
Well, maybe he wasn't. I don't know. I thought he was. And what's that got to do with it anyway? I'm still saying he weren't shot by me.
Bound and determined to stick to that story, huh?
It's true.
Won't get no jury to believe that.
I tell you,
and
I
I don't mind saying I don't myself. You'd be better off if you just come clean.
Oh, the dickens with trying to argue with you. You do me a favor, Sheriff?
Anything that ain't unreasonable.
Send for my wife. Tell her where I am and I want to see her.
Oh, sure. That can be done.
It won't be necessary.
Helen.
I already know what's happened. Carp has told me.
Howdy, Sheriff.
Hello, Carp.
Tough lines, Jack.
Yeah.
But I knew someday you and the boss would tangle. It was one of them things just had to happen.
If it did, you ain't sorry.
Yeah? What do you mean?
Jack.
What do you think he is? Wasn't him your pa wanted you to marry? Wasn't it why your pa made Carp foreman? Wasn't it because I cut him out that your pa and me fought?
Shucks, fella, that's all ancient history. I never held it again you. Helen chose you, so
There's no need to discuss it.
Sorry, Helen.
And, Jack, I came here for just one reason. I came to tell you that we're through.
What's that?
It can't be any other way. Maybe Father started the quarrel. Maybe he forced you to draw. But I can't forget that he was my father, that I begged you not to meet him armed.
But, honey, you don't know the facts. It weren't that way at all. I
know the story you've told him, and I can't believe it any more than the others do.
But, honey...
I won't talk about it. I can't. Carp, take me out of here.
Well, sure, Helen. You come along. See you later, Sheriff.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be.
Didn't expect anything else, did you, Jack?
Even she wouldn't believe me.
And if your own wife won't, that means...
Huh?
Won't nobody else neither. Young fella, if it turns out Sampson's really done for, I'm afraid things are going to go so good for you.
Then, Sheriff, you've got to find him.
That's what I aim to do.
You've got to find that masked man and see where Mr. Sampson was took.
Uh-huh.
Then what are you standing there for? Go on. Go on, doggone it. Find him.
Looking for me?
What?
The masked man.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger drama. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments.
Now to continue our story. Startled by the sudden appearance of the masked man, the sheriff instinctively slapped his hand to his holster, was stopped by the Lone Ranger's lightning draw.
Careful, Sheriff.
Sheriff, watch out. He's got the drop on you.
I didn't come looking for trouble, Sheriff, but anything you start, I'll finish.
Why did you come here?
For the answer to certain questions, which you and Jack should be able to furnish.
Stranger, where's Sampson? What'd you do with him? He's still alive or ain't he?
You'll answer my questions first, Sheriff. Yours will come later.
Well, looks like you're boss. What do you want to know?
Who were Sampson's enemies? Who would benefit by his death?
What are you getting at?
I have reason to believe Jack has been telling you the truth. I believe he's innocent. In that case, you'll have to look elsewhere for your killer.
You believe in me, Masked Man?
I do.
Why?
For one very excellent reason. I've seen both Jack and Sampson. They were found under circumstances that made it appear they had shot it out. But there's one fact that won't agree with that story.
What fact's that?
If they had fought, their shots would have been fired at almost the same time. But they weren't. Sampson's wound was made almost an hour earlier than Jack's.
You're sure of that, stranger?
Yes.
How do you know?
You might have seen the same thing if you'd had the opportunity to make a comparison.
I would have if you hadn't took Sampson away.
I had a reason for that. If I had left him where he was, it might have been shown that Jack was innocent.
Then
But by taking him away, I'll do more than that. I'll also learn who was guilty.
Masked Man, you do that and I'll be your pard for life. Outlaw or not.
You make it sound good, stranger. But how do I know you ain't talking through your hat?
Give me the information I've asked for, and I'll prove I'm not.
You mean tell you who might want Sampson done in?
Yes.
I wouldn't do no harm to tell you that, I reckon.
If you don't, I will, Sheriff.
Now, don't get hasty, young fella. Now, let's see. There's Buck Klein, and there's Sam Jenks. Him and Sampson was always fighting.
Buck Klein, Sam Jenks, Dick Seeley. There were half a dozen, Tonto. Each was Sampson's enemy, or had something to gain by his death. So any one of those men might have shot Sampson and framed Jack for it.
That right.
The sheriff wanted to investigate each one and learn what kind of an alibi he had for the time of the shooting. But I talked him out of that. Our plan is not only easier, but more certain. And I don't want any of them to think that he's under suspicion.
That's a good idea.
The sheriff agreed to it.
Him help?
He will, Kimasabi.
What him do?
I think tomorrow he'll spend quite a bit of his time in the cafes in town. Telling the townsmen just what he's been instructed to say.
We're going to do something about
You seen the masked man, Sheriff?
What's he say?
Sampson's still alive?
What's that masked gent's game?
Hold on, fellas, now, hold on.
Well, hurry up and
I
tell
don't
us.
mind telling you about it, but how can I with all you fellas talking to once?
Well, how'd the masked man happen to look you up, Sheriff?
Because I'm the law, that's why. Why wouldn't he?
What, ain't he a crook?
Maybe, but I got my own notions about that.
But how about Sampson?
He's alive, all right. That ain't to say that he's going to live.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the masked fella says it's going to be kind of touch and go. He's still unconscious. Can't be moved or anything. The masked feller's got a redskin pard tending to him.
Where are they?
That's something I ain't saying.
The masked man going to let you know what happens to Sampson?
That's all been fixed.
And Jack?
Stays right where he is in jail. Maybe he's telling the truth about that shooting, and maybe he ain't. If Sampson lives to tell his story, we'll get the facts. Till then, Jack's staying behind bars.
But how long's that going to be?
Don't know for sure.
Then why don't...
But it won't be too long. The masked man said they ought to know whether Sampson's going to pull through or not inside of 48 hours.
Hello, Sheriff.
Oh, it's you, stranger.
I've been waiting for you.
What?
You've been all around town. You let everyone know what I told you to say?
Sure have, mister. By this time, if there's a man, woman, or child in these parts don't know about it, they must be deaf.
Good.
Stranger, just a second.
Yes?
I've answered all your questions when you ask them. Mind if I put a few to you?
Go on.
Ain't anything you should mind answering. First off, this Injun pard of yours you've mentioned. You ain't told me his name. It wouldn't be Tonto, would it?
It would. But how did you know?
Oh, I just had a hunch when I heard you ride off last night calling that horse of yours Silver.
Oh?
Would you mind my looking at your guns? Just one of them will do.
Take it. Satisfied?
Bullets of silver.
Right.
Mister, you maybe wondered why I didn't put up no bigger argument when you told me your scheme.
It was logical, and you certainly could see I had nothing to gain by it.
But, mister, that wouldn't have been enough by a long sight.
No?
It was 'cause I had a blame good notion who you was.
And then in that case, maybe you'll be ready to carry out the rest of my plan.
What do you mean?
Recall the names of those men we discussed last night? The men who might gain by Sampson's death?
Oh, sure.
Well, tomorrow send for them. Have them brought here to your office.
But what for? What'll I say?
That you're forming a posse. That you've chosen them to ride in it. Listen, Sheriff, and I'll tell you exactly what I have in mind.
sheriff wants you. Sheriff wants you in town right now.
What's that you said?
Sheriff's forming a posse, Cobb. You've got to be in it. Get it, fella. Get it. Pete, the sheriff wants you. Sheriff sent for you. You get to town. Hurry, Jake. The sheriff wants you.
Come on, Silver. Come on, old fellow.
Get him up, Scout. Get him up. Where we go?
See that cliff, Tonto?
Me see it.
That's where we're headed, Kimosabe.
Oh.
If we signal from there, the smoke will be seen in town. Come on, old fellow. Hurry, boy.
Get him up, Scout. Get him up.
Hail, Silver. Hooray!
Doggone it, Sheriff. Huh? You sent for us and said we was needed for a posse. Well, if we are, why don't we do something? Why don't you get away from that window and tell us who we're going after? We're all set and ready.
Well, maybe I should have told you a little more. But you see, fellers, I've been so busy watching for the signal it kind of slipped my mind.
What signal?
The one that masked man's going to send.
The masked man?
That's right, Buck.
Then this has got something to do with Samson?
Fellers, the masked man told me Samson would either come to this morning and pull through, or he never would. Now's the crisis. If he dies, ain't nothing much we can do but go on with the case again, Jack.
You got some kind of notion he didn't shoot Samson?
Well, there's certain things kind of point that way.
What in tarnation?
You better let me finish. If Samson comes to, he'll be able to tell us who shot him. If it was Jack, well, all right. But if it weren't, then we want to grab the skunk that did just as fast as we can.
That's right. But how about this your signal you mentioned?
The masked man will make it. It'll be a smoke signal. One smoke will mean Samson's done for.
Yeah?
And two will mean he's conscious. He can talk.
Well, in that case, Sheriff, fellas, look towards the hills. Smoke.
Where you see it?
There it is. How many, Carp? How many?
Just one.
Oh, then that means...
Samson's cashed in his chips. Yeah.
Well, then, I reckon that's that. Ain't gonna talk. Wasted our time. Me, I'm gonna...
Wasted our time, did we? There's the second signal. You take a look. He just got to go.
That's right.
Come on, you hombres. Get to the saddle. We're riding for the hill. Keep going, fellas. Ain't much further. Get along there, boy. Get up there. Get up there.
Hi. There's the masked man now. He's waving. He's yelling something.
Pull up there.
Rein in, fellers. Whoa there.
Oh, there's Silver. Oh, boy. Oh. Sheriff, it worked.
I know doggone well it would. Which way did the skunk go?
Tonto and I were watching from above. We saw him drop back when he rode through those trees there and raced to the south.
You'll find out what we're talking about later, fellas. Right now, there ain't time to explain.
Follow me. Tonto's already on his trail. Come on, Silver.
Get out there.
There's the engine.
Who's that he's chasing?
Hey,
it's Carp.
Like what he started out with us.
And left you at the first opportunity to make his escape. He's the man who shot Samson. Ride that fella down. Hurry, Silver. Hurry.
The polecat shooting at us.
I'll take care of that. I'm riding ahead. Come on, old fellow.
Look at that white horse stretch out.
Covers the ground like he was flying.
Get back up, will you, bless you? Get back.
Listen to Carp holler.
The masked man's making a loop. He's getting ready to toss his rope. Get up, boy. Get up.
Get up, brother. Come on, boy. Get up now.
He got him.
Carp's on the ground. He's fighting like a wildcat.
The masked man will handle him. Hold on to the skunk, masked man.
Get up that way.
Pull up. Whoa.
Stand still, Carp. We're saving you for a hanging.
You can't hang me.
Just what makes you think we can't?
Because Samson never died.
But he did.
What's that?
He died immediately when you shot him. You gave yourself away.
I thought
Sheriff said...
What I told him to say.
We let you think Sampson had a chance to pull through a purpose.
So when the guilty man was convinced Sampson was going to live to testify against him, he'd do exactly what you did. Attempt to escape.
Blast you! What was the idea, Carp? Figure if you could put the blame on Jack, Jack could hang and you get hitched to the widder?
What if I did?
Well, you'll find that out after your trial.
And you'll likely find out more.
Yeah?
If I'm not mistaken, you've guessed close, Sheriff, but you've guessed at only part of the truth. Carp would have liked to marry Sampson's daughter so he could get his hands on the ranch.
Uh-huh.
But it wouldn't surprise me if you learned that Carp had been stealing from his employer, was facing exposure, and had to resort to murder to escape conviction.
All the better. That'll just make his hanging double sure.
And Jack will be released?
As quick as we can get to town. All right, boys, back to the horses. We'll take this polecat to jail.
Come on, Silver.
Hello, Silver! Hooray!
The story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.
Hunt the biggest of all game with the Green Hornet and Cato coming up next.
The Green Hornet. He hunts the biggest of all game, public enemies who try to destroy our America. With his faithful valet Cato, Britt Reed, daring young publisher, matches wits with the underworld, risking his life that criminals and racketeers within the law may feel its weight by the sting of the Green Hornet. Ride with Britt Reed in the thrilling adventure, Woman in the Case. The Green Hornet strikes again. A well-dressed, smooth-looking young man entered a small grocery store and sauntered toward the man behind the counter.
Something for you, mister?
I'd like to see the proprietor.
That's me. What can I do for you?
I represent the Grocer's Protective Insurance Company, and I would
look, mister, I have all the insurance I need right now, so it's no use wasting your time.
You may think you have, my friend, but you're not fully protected until you belong to our association.
Not interested.
Oh, but I'm sure you will be. Now that the war is over, there's a great deal of unrest, you know. A small business like yours can be here today and gone tomorrow. Unless you have strong protection.
Now, listen here, mister.
No, you listen. You want to stay in business, you'll join our association. The dues are $20 a week.
$20 a week? Are you nuts? Why should I pay that much?
I told you once that you can stay in business with full protection against any interference.
Now I get it. You're in some kind of a racket.
Come now, that's no way to talk when you're about to make a deal with someone.
If you think I'm going to make a deal with you, you're crazy.
I'm afraid you're making a great mistake, chum. Now, if you care to reconsider and let me go into a detailed...
Get out of here, and don't come back or I'll turn you into the cops. Get out of my store.
Just as you say. But you may be sorry. Goodbye, pal.
How'd you make out, chick?
Not so good, Joe. You drive. I have something else to do. I don't go for this kind of stuff, chick. Honest. You'll get used to it, Joe. Slow down a bit. We're coming to the place. Drive along close to the curb. Come on, do as I tell you.
Sure, chick.
That's better. Now maybe I can get results.
Sir. Storekeeper killed. Read all about it. There you are, lady. Police hunt killers. That's Gillette Street. Platform!
Hey, Sarge.
What brings you in early, Ashford?
I came down to see if you got anything new on that bombing yesterday afternoon.
All we know is somebody threw a bomb into that store from a speeding car, and the storekeeper didn't live to tell about it.
Reminds me of the days when I used to be on the force, Sarge. Back in the days when the gangsters were on the loose.
Yeah, well, the same sort of things are beginning to happen today, Mike. Crime is sure on the upgrade since the war stopped.
Reed sure wrote a hot editorial in last night's Sentinel about it. And I had a beautiful story in there, too.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to read it.
Say, Sarge, did you get any more dope out of that there witness you picked up last night?
Who told you we picked up a witness?
Cassidy told me. Last night. Why?
I hope you didn't mention it to anybody. Did you?
Well, no, I didn't exactly mention it to anyone in particular, Sarge. You see,
Ashford, You didn't say anything about it in the Sentinel, did you?
Well, as a matter of fact, I sort of barely mentioned the matter by writing that the jeweler across the street from the grocery saw a black car drive away with 2 men.
What?
Well, that's all, Sarge.
Great day, Ashford. We were trying to keep that information undercover to protect the witness. Come on, hurry.
Where are we going, Sarge?
To the jeweler's place. Where do you think? And let's hope we're not too late.
Sarge, you're always getting excited about little things that don't mean a thing. Now, why can't you be like me, for instance?
Like you say. Heaven forbid. I could think of nothing worse. And as for getting excited about little things, you're about the worst. What's that?
Holy crow! Pull over to the side. Somebody's shooting. Pull over, Sarge, so we can run to cover.
Shut up, Look, up ahead.
Suffering snake, Sarge. There's a big crowd in front of the jewelry place.
I got to step on it.
Take it easy, Sarge.
Whatever happened, you're to blame, Mike Ashford. Blabbing off your big mouth. Come on. Sure. I'm right with you.
I was just crossing the street when it happened. That was a big car. I saw it.
Here's the cops. Make way. Stand aside. Open up there.
All right, out of the way there now. Out of the way. Look out.
Yeah.
I wonder... Hey, Sarge, look.
Glory be. The jeweler, dead as a doornail. Our only witness shot down right in front of his own store. What next?
A short time later, Britt Reed, young publisher of the Daily Sentinel, was in the city room talking to Gunnigan, the city editor.
Anything new on the bombing, Gunnigan?
Not much, Chief. I sent Lowry to several places, but all the grocers he interviewed said they hadn't been approached by anyone yet. Or maybe they're just talking.
Yes. That bombing yesterday could have scared them into silence.
Hi, Reed. How are you, Gunnigan? Holy crow, if I got news. Oh, so it's you, huh? What's on your mind? Listen, you know that jeweler who witnessed the bombing yesterday? Do you? Stop asking silly questions and get to the point, will you?
Yes, Axford. What's this all about?
Just this, Reed. That jeweler was shot down in front of his shop a little while ago. What?
Well, that's bad.
The guy's dead. I phoned in to rewrite. Jumping catfish, what next? If I knew what next, I'd make dough telling fortunes. So long, Gunny, old boy.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, forget it. No telling how far that gang will go if they're not stopped soon.
Yeah. Laurie said there was one grocer over on Gray Street who was scared stiff. All he'd say was he wasn't talking. He wouldn't even say whether he had been approached by the racketeers or not.
Sounds like he had something to hide. He could have given a yes or no answer.
Yeah, maybe those mugs did get to him, but he's afraid to say so. If you asked me, Chief, I'd say that... Calling me, Miss Case?
Gunnigan, is Mr. Reed there?
Yeah, wait a minute.
What is it, Miss Case?
Mr. Reed, there's a woman here to see you, a Miss Barry from the Associated Grocers.
Have Miss Barry wait. I'll come right in, Miss Case.
Yes, sir.
Keep me posted, Gunnigan.
Okay, Chief.
Well, here's Mr. Reed now. Mr. Reed, this is Miss Barry.
Hello, Mr. Reed.
Good morning, Miss Barry.
I'm assistant to Mr. Prescott, head of the Associated Grocers.
I see.
Mr. Prescott is out of the city, and I've been unable to contact him.
Yes?
I dropped in to see you because, in view of what's taken place, I know we'd want some statement to the press as to our stand.
Oh, I see.
Naturally, we want our members to resist the attempts of those racketeers to make them pay for protection, but, well, such resistance is useless unless the police take more drastic steps to stop them. The killing of that witness was due entirely to police negligence.
The witness? Oh, yes. One of our reporters just came in with that story. I'm sure the police are doing all they can, Miss Barry. The grocers will have to be more cooperative before they can expect the police to run down those racketeers.
Why do you say that, Mr. Reed?
One of our reporters called on several grocers, but nearly all of them gave out very little information, if any at all.
Then you got no information at all?
Well, very little. There was one grocer over on Gray Street who knew something.
That must be the Gray Street Grocery and Market. Well, at least he was cooperative. By the way, I recall that the jeweler whom the police hoped to have as a witness mentioned seeing a long black car drive away after the bombing.
Yes, I understand he did say that.
Then why don't the police consider a certain criminal who uses such a car?
You don't mean... the Green Hornet, Miss Barry?
Yes, that's exactly whom I do mean. He said to use a car of that description. If they run down the Green Hornet, they'll probably find he's behind the whole thing.
Well, I never thought of the Green Hornet.
I suggest you put the idea in the minds of the police, Mr. Reed, through your newspaper. Well, I must run along. Thank you for seeing me.
I'm glad you came by, Miss Barry. You've given me food for thought. I hope for the sake of your members the racketeers are soon apprehended.
I hope so, Mr. Reed. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
My goodness, she seems like one of those efficient type of women who knows just what to do.
Yes. Miss Barry seems to be a very smart woman in this case.
Well, all I can say is that if those grocers are dealing with the Green Hornet and his gang, well, they're really looking for trouble.
And that's right in this case. Of course, we're not positive that the Hornet's mixed up in this deal. Well, that was Miss Barry's suggestion. But let's hope that it won't be long before we find out who really is running the racket.
That evening, Sergeant Burke was talking to Axford in the press room at police headquarters.
Axford, for 2 pins, I'd run you out of here.
What's eating you, Sarge?
What's eating me, you say? Plenty, Axford, plenty. The Daily Sentinel's getting under my hair, that's what.
Even if Flea'd have a time trying to get under them few hairs of yours, Sarge.
Is that so now? I'm sick and tired of having that paper of yours ride the force in its editorials. First, you go ahead and tip off the news about that witness. Then along comes this edition with a blast against us for not getting those racketeers.
Well, if you didn't deserve it, Reed wouldn't write it, to my way of thinking.
Is that so?
Sure it's so. Reed just printed an interview he had with the assistant to the head of the Associated Grocers.
Yeah? Well, tell me this. Where did he get that stuff about us getting out and rounding up the Green Hornet? Look for the Green Hornet, it says. Haven't we been trying to catch that spalpeen for the past year?
Yep. He's too good for you, Sarge. If you want the Sentinel to stop printing stuff like that, I know what you can do.
Yeah? What?
Catch the harlot.
Don't bear dope all your life, Mike.
A dope, am I? Now, listen, I can tell you that when I was on the...
What's up, Clancy?
Just got a call. Grocer down on Gray Street's just been snatched.
What?
Must be them racketeers again, Sarge.
Yeah, might be, Mike. Seen some guy wearing a mask went in, herd the customers into the back room, forced the grocer to go out with him.
Holy crow, did you hear that, Sarge?
One of the customers ran to the door in time to see him drive away in a long black car.
Glory be. Must be the Green Hornet.
That's what I think.
Clancy, get a squad car ready. Tell the dispatchers to put out a warning. Now we know the Green Hornet's in with those racketeers, and we'll hunt till we find him. Get going.
We'll continue our Green Hornet adventure in just a moment. And now back to the Green Hornet. Meantime, a long black car was headed out the river road. 2 men sat in the front talking.
That chap in the back has done his last bit of squawking, Joe.
Look, why do we take him for a ride like this? He's been squawking. Why don't you bump him off like you did the other 2, Chick?
I follow orders, Joe. The boss wants to know what he said and to whom he said it before he gets what he has coming to him. That's why we're taking him to the hideout.
Hey, Chick.
What, Joe?
I was just thinking. Suppose a Green Hornet gets wind of us using his mask and all. Maybe he'll be on the prowl for us. And he ain't the one to come up against, from what I hear.
That's the boss's worry, Joe. Anyway, the Hornet's human. He'll have to find us first. And then I guess we could handle him like we could any other man.
I don't like it, Chick. I don't think he is human.
Oh, don't be a fool. The boss knows all the answers, Joe. If the Hornet butts in, he'll get his just as the others did. Now, stop worrying. Leave that to the boss and forget the Hornet.
Meantime, Britt Reed had gone to his apartment, where Cato, his faithful Filipino valet, and the only person knowing his identity as the Green Hornet, was waiting.
You sit in thought for some time now, Mr. Britt. You think of how to catch racketeers, perhaps?
You know me like a book, Cato.
We'd not like you to worry, but not do something, Mr. Britt.
I am going to do something about it, Cato. And since you're anxious for a little action, we'll start out right now.
Where we go first?
I want to have a talk with a certain grocer over on Gray Street. I think he might open up to the Green Hornet.
Black Beauty and gas gun ready, Mr. Britt.
Good. Let's go.
A short time later, a curious crowd still lingered in front of the Gray Street grocery as Sergeant Burke and Mike Axford left the store and walked toward the squad car at the curb. Suddenly, Axford stared at an approaching car, then pointed with a shout.
Hey, Sarge, look!
What are you? Great day, it's the Green Hornet!
There's the dirty kidnapper!
You didn't see the cops here. Oh, they can get him.
Into the cars, men! After him!
From police now. They're not following, Mr. Britt.
That smoke screen came in handy, Cato. But we had a close shave just the same.
Well, why you think police at grocery?
I heard someone shout something about kidnapper. Evidently, the racketeers have picked up that grocer and taken him away. We got there a little too late.
Perhaps other person have same idea as Green Hornet, to talk to grocer. So they take him away instead of kill him like others.
Yes. Yes, I think you hit it, Cato. I think I know of someone who might have wanted to question that grocer.
You have thought that might lead to racketeers, maybe?
Yes, I have. We've got to find their hideout while they still have that grocer in custody, so as to leave proof for the police and to save his life.
What we do?
I have a plan that may work, Cato. I want you to stop at the nearest drugstore and put in a phone call to the police. Step on it.
Hey, Sarge, we can't catch the Hornet or anybody else by sitting in a parked car on the roadside.
This is where we lost that Hornet. Maybe he'll drive back this way, Axel.
While we're sitting here, he and his gang of racketeers can be pulling a big job.
Listen. Someone's coming over the radio.
Calling all cars. Calling all cars. Green Hornet reported forcing entry into the office of Associated Grocers at 3rd and Water Streets. Proceed to 3rd and Water Streets. Be on lookout for Green Hornet, that is all.
Holy crow, didn't I tell you? While we sit here, the Hornets are up. That's just a few blocks from here. This time we'll catch that sneaking Hornet red-handed.
Parked in a dark alley across from the entrance to the Associated Grocers' offices, Britt, Reed, and Cato watched with interest as police cars continued to arrive in answer to the radio call.
Many police come in response to call, Mr. Britt.
Yes. I'll search that building from top to bottom.
Why we wait here and watch?
The alarm over the police radio in response to your phone call would be heard by others as well as the police, Cato. We're watching in hopes that a certain party will show up.
Well, then what we do?
Then when that certain party leaves, we'll follow, in hopes of being led to the hideout.
Oh, it's clear now. I wonder if... Mr. Britt, look. See a Dan stop in front of building.
I see it, Cato. Watch. Our little trick worked, Cato. That's the person we're going to follow.
But with so many police about, it's not easy to
when
get
that
back.
car leaves, we'll go through to the next street, then pick up its trail a block or two away.
Person getting back into car, Mr. Britt.
This is it, Cato. Let's get going. And we mustn't lose sight of that car.
A short time later, Chick and Joe sat smoking and talking in the small house used as a hideout on River Road.
Yeah, too bad the boss didn't finish talking to the squealer who got tied up in a back room. I don't like having him around alive, Chick.
Oh, Joe, you suddenly become very bloodthirsty. I remember how squeamish you were when I wanted to throw that bomb.
Oh, well, might as well hang for bumping off 3 as to hang for 1. Anyway, I decided the boss is too smart to get us caught.
I hope so. I didn't approve of that Hornet gang. We could have worked it without giving him reason to get sore.
How's a Hornet going to find us if the cops can't?
Joe, if you ever meet that guy just once, you'll find that once was enough. He's plenty smart. Give me a light, will you?
Yeah, sure. Here you are, Chick.
Thanks, Joe. Hey, it's about time the boss came back.
Yeah, I was just thinking it.
Here comes the boss now.
Hi.
What was the Hornet doing at the association offices?
He didn't get into the offices at all, Chick. Give me a cigarette.
Of course. Here you are.
Thanks. I'll light it from yours.
Okay.
I was afraid the Hornet was after the files to get our list of grocers. But the police were there, and they said he hadn't shown up.
Oh. Say, maybe that call to the police was a phony tip.
Why would anyone want to pull a gag like that on the cops? What good would it do?
Chick, do you think that
He's
Hornet...
known to be tricky.
Joe, get that squealer from the back room. We're leaving here right now. Taking him with us.
Okay, boss. Only why take him with us? He'll only be in the way.
When we reach a convenient, isolated spot, it'll be your job, Joe, to get rid of him. Now go get him and hurry.
Okay, I'll bring him right out.
Well, honey, those grocers will really come through now after the scare they've had. We got to clean up plenty in this racket.
Yeah. Then you and I'll clear out and settle down somewhere together else. After we get rid of Joe. If he thought for 1 minute we meant anything to each other...
Quiet.
Come on, you get moving.
I'd still like to know what this dope here told the Sentinel reporter this afternoon. See if you can get it out of him now, Chick.
What? I didn't tell him anything. Honest.
That's what you say.
Oh, hold it, Joe. That's no way to get it from him. All right, chum. Tell us what we want to know, and then we'll take you back to town.
No matter what I tell you, I know I won't get away from you alive. I know that woman's Miss Barry from the Associated Grocers. They also know she's the head of this racket. Look, let me go. I won't talk to anybody, honest. I'll give up my place, leave town. Let me go.
Loudmouth cuss any. Listen, Dope, whether you talk or not makes no difference, like you said. I'm going to have the pleasure of it.
What was that?
Look, Peepers, it's the Green Hornet.
Help! Save me!
Shut up.
Oh. Looks like a nice little party. May I join in?
What do you want? How'd you find this place?
You led me here. You're not so smart.
Hornet. Maybe I wanted you to follow me here.
Well, now, that's different. Maybe I could go for a dame like you. Maybe we could work together. If you ditch the dopes you run around with.
You give me ideas, big boy.
Hey, what gives?
Shut up, you.
Hornet, I could really go for your type. In a big way.
Well, looks as though we might be able to make a deal. Just you and I. How about it, beautiful?
See here, this has gone far enough. If I thought for one moment you were serious, baby, I'd...
What?
Put down that gun. You gone crazy?
Do something, chick. She's giving us a double cross for the Hornets.
Watch that ex-boyfriend of yours, beautiful. Want to work on loudmouth here?
I'll get him, chick.
Give it to him, Hornet.
Just as you say, honey.
Look, baby, don't go haywire over that Hornet. He'd cross you up the first chance he got. Put down that gun and let's get him out of here. Remember our plans, honey. Don't let this...
Hornet, I'm getting tired of holding this gun on him. Are you going to do something about Chick, or do you expect me?
He is obnoxious, isn't he? Maybe he needs a workout, too.
Hey, wait.
Here's another chick, old boy.
Get him, baby, before it's too late. Here's your gun on him or you'll be sorry.
Finish him off, Hornet.
Okay, beautiful.
Hey, you really can fight. Now we can team up together and run the protective racket right. Those two will step into line all right. What do you say, handsome?
Now, maybe you'd better put that gun away so we can talk things over. How about it?
I forgot I had it. You sort of distract me, Hornet. There. Now you and I can...
Haven't got time. Take a whiff of this.
No, wait. Gas. Oh.
Cato.
I'm here.
Come in and phone the police. The grocer here will be a witness against this bunch.
The woman fall hard for you.
Yes. Hard enough to bump her head on the floor. Get to the phone, then we'll get out of here.
Mr. Britt, how you know a woman was one who lead racketeers?
She came to my office today, Cato, assistant to the head of the Associated Grocers. She knew about the killing of the jeweler then, even though Axford had just come in with the news. Also, she heard me mention that a grocer on Gray Street knew something. She thought he'd talk, so she had her men pick him up.
Oh, so that it. Was she not smart enough for Green Hornet?
Too bad a beautiful woman like that is dumb enough to turn to crime, Cato.
She also dumb enough to think Hornet can be attracted by her wiles.
Let's talk about the weather, Cato, and forget the woman in the case. As Axford would say, what a woman.
Green Hornet implicated! Read all about it! Green Hornet still in charge! West the Lake Street!
These popular radio dramas, created by George W. Trendle, are a copyrighted feature of the Green Hornet, Incorporated. All characters, names, places, and incidents used are fictitious.
Crime doesn't stand a chance against Dick Tracy. Up next.
And now, Dick Tracy! This is Dick Tracy on the case of the low hijack. Stand by for action. Let's go, men. Yes, it's Dick Tracy, protector of law and order.
Tracy fans, tomorrow the people in the state of Maryland will observe a holiday. They call it Maryland Defenders Day. It commemorates the 133rd anniversary of the Battle of North Point, fought in the War of 1812. This battle took place during a dark point in our history. Early in the year 1814, the enemy had captured our capital, Washington, had set fire to many of our public buildings. Now they were moving on to Baltimore with the intention of burning that city, too. To defend Baltimore, the Americans were depending on two forces, one of which was a garrison of 1,000 men located in Fort McHenry. The enemy approached the fort, and when they were close enough, the guns of Fort McHenry opened fire. For about 30 minutes, they put forth a cannonade so furious that the enemy fell back. And then at night, the fort was once again attacked. And once again, the enemy fell back, this time for good. You all know the story of this last attack, I'm sure. It will live forever in the words of the Star-Spangled Banner. Yes, it was the noble defense of Fort McHenry that inspired Francis Scott Key to write the song that is now our national anthem. And now, Dick Tracy. Yesterday, Tracy and Patton, locked in the back of a truck trailer, were driven across town by the hijackers. Dick and Pat, of course, were carrying out their scheme to trap the truck-robbing gang. But it's a scheme that has dangerously backfired because Maury Bunn, the head of the hijackers, discovered that unwittingly he was holding Tracy and Patton prisoners. At the moment, Dick and Pat have no idea of the gravity of their situation. They're waiting impatiently in the dark interior of the truck trailer.
Richard, if you don't mind me mentioning it, waiting locked up here in this truck is beginning to get on my nerves.
Tell your nerves to move over. Mine want to join them.
I just can't understand why we stood here so long. Why don't they get started and drive out of here?
I wish I knew, Pat.
Well, anyway, we're obviously still in the city.
I know.
Yes, but you don't just hijack a truck and then leave while you go to a movie or something.
Well, I'll admit it doesn't make much sense. And I'll also admit I'm worried.
Say, look, you don't suppose they've gotten suspicious and abandoned the truck, do you?
It's always a possibility.
Well, then in that case, get me a can opener. I'm going home.
No, Pat. It's going to take more than a can opener to get us out of this one.
Well, you think maybe I ought to raise my voice in a loud howl?
They won't hear it. This truck trailer we're in is very well built.
Yeah, I know, but I suppose maybe I could pound on the walls with my gun butt and maybe I'd raise somebody.
I don't think we want to raise anybody yet, Pat. Maybe the hijackers will come back. We'll wait all night for them.
Yeah, and then again, maybe they haven't gone anyplace.
Something tells me you're returning to your major theme for the night.
You're absolutely right. Suppose they know that we're in here. And suppose they're planning some special kind of show in which we're going to play the star parts.
But, Pat, how could they get wise? Only Stanton and the driver of the truck knew.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Stanton. But what about that driver?
Yes, that's the chance we had to take. If he didn't know about us being in the truck and hadn't been ordered to take a powder as soon as the truck was driven out of the warehouse, he might have been killed by the hijackers.
Yeah, sure, I understand about all that. But I can still worry about it, can't I?
All right, if it will make you happier.
No idea what a comfort it is. Yeah, the trouble with me is I just haven't enough to occupy my mind.
Well, we can always play 20 questions.
20... Look, that's all we've been playing. And the game goes like this. Questions 1 to 20... Who are the hijackers?
I think I know, Pat. All I need is the final proof.
Oh, fine. Don't tell me or anything.
Maury Bunn.
Oh, Maury Bunn, huh? Then you got something from examining the records of his department store business?
Well, nothing I can use as immediate evidence, but enough so that I can pretty well figure how he operates.
And when do you get the final proof?
I'm going to subpoena his books and bookkeeper and put a gang of auditors on him. And I'm going to track down every business firm with which he's done business.
Oh, that's all just fine, but supposing you're wrong.
I won't be. You just wait and see.
Richard, you won't be offended if I point out that all this activity is predicated on one thing, and that's on our getting out of this truck.
A contingency of which I'm fully aware.
Yes, but even if you get Maury Bunn, you still might not get the rest of the gang.
Now, Pat, now it's my turn to point out something. That's why we're sitting locked in this truck trailer in the middle of the night.
Touche, son. Touche.
And even if tonight does turn out to be a dud, if we get Maury Bunn, the gang is broken up. The small fry shouldn't be too tough.
Well, you've set my mind at ease, lad, except for one thing.
I know.
What if Maury Bunn knows we're in this truck?
Yes. Maury Bunn does know that Dick and Pat are in that truck. And right now, Maury Bunn is discussing their fate with Billy Tell and Deadpan.
Deadpan, will you, for goodness sake, stop walking up and down?
That's what I'm thinking.
That will only add to my worries. Sit down. Or better yet, go wash your hands and face.
Okay, Moribund, I just done it.
That probably was inadequate. You look septic tonight.
What about Billy Tell? He looks like what you just said, too.
He will also wash his hands and face again.
Ah, Deadpan, why couldn't you keep your big mouth from hanging open?
Hurry up, both of you. Anyway, I find the sound of running water a pleasant accompaniment to concentration.
Come on, Deadpan, let's get the germs off and help the master think.
Why not? Otherwise, we never get out of here to get Tracy and Patton. If I wash my feet, would it help you think?
You're straining, Deadpan. Don't use yourself up before the night's over.
Be sure you use the sterilized towels. I want no germs around here.
We'll do everything.
Look, Moribund, this doesn't seem so tough to me. We got Tracy and Patton locked in. Let's get the truck blown down and finish him off.
Where is the truck now?
Downstairs, across from your private entrance.
What kind of truck is it?
It's one of them big trailer trucks. I can drive them like a dream.
We may be able to put your accomplishments to some use. A trailer truck. And Tracy and Patton are locked in the trailer.
Why don't we move the act out of town and just set it on fire?
I don't think one of those big trailers would burn.
We could scorch them plenty, though.
I'm not interested in scorching them. I want to kill them. No, in some way I must destroy the whole truck.
I've been thinking. Why don't we open the rear door and go right in after them?
Don't be a fool. That's what they're hoping for.
So we get them anyway?
You personally will bag the 2 best shots on the police force? That, to coin a bromide, will be the day.
Well, I'm trying.
The effort is misdirected.
One thing is certain. We got to get the truck out of town before we can do ourselves any good.
There, I'll go along with you. Forgive me if I think I'm trying to postpone the inevitable.
What is the inevitable?
That I leave my air-conditioned, germ-free apartment and go out into the filthy night air.
Oh, it ain't bad. There's a full moon out tonight.
I will not bandy the subject with you.
But you haven't left your apartment for years.
For 8 years and 37 days, to be exact.
What do you have to do it now for?
I cannot help myself. This job must not be bungled.
Well, we'll do what you tell us to.
I'm sure you will. But in the eventuality that something goes wrong, I do not wish you to think for yourself.
Sometimes you say the nicest things to me, Morton.
Try to be quiet for a moment. You have no idea how the thought of going out upsets me.
Then why go? We'll take care of it.
That's the risk I don't dare run. If Tracy is killed, I'm completely in the clear to operate as I see fit. This murder must be done right.
Well, I'm for that, but we'll do it for you.
No, I'll go. I'll expose myself to millions and millions of germs and run the risk of serious infection.
People have been doing that for years, Moribund, and they still seem to make it home for dinner, all right?
If I only had a face mask and some rubber gloves.
What do you want to do, scare Tracy to death?
Will you stop bothering me, Deadpan? Now, Billy.
Yes, sir?
I want you to bring my 2-way amplifying microphones.
What do you want that set up for?
I'm going to clamp one of them on the side of the trailer. I want to be able to talk to Tracy.
Oh, you're going to give him a little needle, huh?
You don't think I'm going to pass up an opportunity for a little gloating, do you?
Actually, it wouldn't seem much like you.
Are you men armed?
I left my Tommy gun in the truck cab.
I have an automatic.
Good. I shall also arm myself. Now, let me see. I have something here. Yes. Here it is. Don't forget my microphones, Billy.
I won't. Are we all going to ride in the cab of the truck?
No. Deadpan will drive the truck, and I'll ride with him.
Well, what do I do? Getting back with the Dicks?
You will take my car. Here. Here are the keys.
Okay.
You will follow the truck.
Fine. Now, what's going to happen to the truck?
I'm not completely decided. But at the moment, I think that I will arrange to roll it into a river. Come on, let's go.
You know, Dick, I'd like to go for a swim. I'm hot. I just like the feeling of water all around me.
You're just a disappointed seal, Patrick.
What do you mean disappointed? You ought to see me balance things on my nose.
Oh, it's a little dark in here for you to do a performance right now.
Oh, you have a flashlight. Shall I turn it on?
No. I think we'd better save the batteries. We're going to need some bright lights to shoot by.
You bring up an interesting point there. I shall take it under advisement.
I'd appreciate it deeply.
What was that?
It could be anything, including a hand grenade.
Don't cheer me up or anything.
Well, Patrick. We're off again.
Well, I'm not sure whether I like it or not. Who's got the old truck now? The other hijackers or a whole new bunch?
I wish you'd stop asking me questions I can't answer. After all, Pat, I'm sitting here in the same black box you are.
Well, no, Richard, but I meant it as a compliment. I just sort of assumed that you know all the answers.
I wish you were right.
What in heaven's name is that?
There you go again with those questions, Pat.
Well, so you're in there, are you, Tracy?
Well, bless my great big beautiful Irish eyes if it isn't the micro-pager.
I thought you might like to know where I am, Tracy, so I rigged up this little amplifying device. Can you hear me all right?
Entirely too well.
What are you doing out of your boudoir, Moribund? I thought you were the stay-at-home type.
You two gentlemen should be extremely flattered. This is the first time I've left my apartment in over 8 years.
Well, now, don't get carried away. People do all kinds of things for us.
Do they kill you, too?
Look, we probably have a long ride ahead. Don't you think it would be more pleasant for all of us if we keep this conversation on a high intellectual plane?
You think you're capable of such a discussion?
Now, come, Moribund. Let's not be rude. You wouldn't want Pat and me to get severe with you.
Allow me to suggest, Mr. Tracy, that you're hardly in a position to do anything to anybody. And I'd also like to add that your condition is sheer heaven compared to what it's going to be. And I hope you get my meaning.
In a moment, we'll return to Dick Tracy. But first, it's open house at the Paul Whiteman Club weekday afternoon. That means a solid hour of recorded hit tunes with Paul himself spinning the platters and making with the chatter. The Paul Whiteman Club is a cool spot these hot summer days. So come in, relax, and hear the records that Paul's picked out, plus a little inside information on the recording artists. Paul has worked with or known most of your musical favorites. He's seen them start and climb their way up that steep ladder of success. And naturally, he has plenty of human interest stories about them. Stories that'll make you realize that a star is just a person like you and me with the same number of hopes and worries. You know, Paul Whiteman has been called the dean of modern American music for good reason. He's been around and he's been responsible for a large portion of its growth. He was waving his baton when Auntie wore pleated skirts, danced the Charleston, and called everything jazzy. And he's right in there now, seeing the new faces swing to a new kind of tempo. Paul handles the Paul Whiteman Club with the same amount of showmanship and capability that's kept him on top. So here's an invitation to listen to the Paul Whiteman Club tomorrow when it's heard on most of these very same ABC stations. And now, back to Dick Tracy.
There, I turned it off. I'm tired of talking to them. What are you going to do, Moribund? Still roll the truck in a river? I'm not sure yet. This situation is such a pleasant one that I may just savor it for a while. Drive towards my warehouse.
If Tracy and Pat had a deck of cards, they might amuse themselves. But it would appear to be the last entertainment they'll get. Better tune in tomorrow for the adventures of Dick Tracy. This is George Gunn speaking. Say, boys and girls, to be well informed, you've got to keep up with the times. And there's a new time for the program that keeps you up with modern trends and challenging topics. Of course, it's America's Town Meeting of the Air, which is now heard every Tuesday night on most of these same ABC stations. When you hear America's Town Meeting, you hear vivid discussions of the vital problems of the world, discussed by noted experts from various professions. So Tuesday night, make it a point to be on hand for America's Town Meeting, heard over most of these same ABC stations. Make a note, Tuesday night for America's Town Meeting. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company. Casting Company.
One of old-time radio's longest-running and most popular programs, CBS Mystery Theater, is up next.
Theater. Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Fear, it may be said, is a malignancy which, once the seed is sown in the human soul, spreads like a voracious and all-consuming fungus throughout the psyche, smothering it at last in death. No one knew this better than the justly celebrated author Robert Louis Stevenson. No one has ever expressed it more vividly, more frighteningly than he in his story, The Suicide Club. Our mystery drama, The Suicide Club, was especially adapted from the Robert Louis Stevenson classic for the Mystery Theater by George Lothar and stars Barry Nelson. Compulsion. What is it? What is it within most of us, perhaps all of us, that compels us to do this or that? What drives the alcoholic to take that first drink he knows will lead to drunkenness and almost certainly eventual death? What spurs the compulsive gambler to bet again and again, aware always that in the end it can only bring him to ruin? That was a question Victor Harris often asked himself, but could never answer, until a certain fatal night when he met a man who called himself John Smith.
Well, your health, Mr. Harris.
Yours, Mr. Smith, I think you said.
As good a name as any other.
So why did you invite me for this drink, Mr. Smith? It isn't customary, you know. More often than not, the strangers one meets at poker games remain strangers. Why?
You interest me, Mr. Harris. In fact, you intrigue me.
Oh.
The last hand we played, everyone else had dropped out, leaving just you and me. I admired the way you played. I admired your nerve. More than anything else, I admired your coolness, your indifference when you lost. $37,000, Mr. Harris. $37,000.
Your admiration is misplaced. Cool, indifferent, why not? $37,000 is nothing to me. I'm a millionaire, Mr. Smith.
Oh, are you?
Several times over.
Well, then, losing that much would mean little to you, if anything at all. Where's the thrill in winning or losing?
There isn't any. Not for me. Not anymore.
Then what point is there in play?
None. None whatever. Gambling of any kind bores me. But I go on because, well, Mr. Smith, I'm what is called a compulsive gambler.
I see. What would you say if I were to tell you that I can change your boredom into a thrill, the like of which you have never experienced before? There's a price tag, of course.
What is the nature of this thrill that you're talking about?
I'm talking about what might be called the supreme gamble, Mr. Harris.
The supreme gamble?
Yes.
That sounds like a matter of life and death.
It does, doesn't it?
Is it?
You're a gambler, Mr. Harris, and a compulsive gambler at that. I think you'll be willing to gamble an hour or two of your time to find out. Here's my card. I'll be expecting you at this address tomorrow night. 7:30 sharp.
Suppose I don't show.
Why, then, you'll never know what the supreme gamble is. And you'll go on being bored.
Yes? My name's Harris. Victor Harris. I believe Mr. Smith is expecting me.
Yes, he is. Come in.
This way, Mr. Harris. Mr. Victor Harris, sir.
Thank you, Lucas. Good to see you again, Mr. Harris. We'll join you in a few moments, Lucas. This, Mr. Harris, is the game room. In this room, every night, Saturday and Sunday excepted, the supreme gamble takes place.
But what is the supreme gamble?
First, tell me what you see.
Why, a room. Large room, tastefully and expensively decorated in 18th century style. And that large round table covered with a green cloth looks like a card table.
That's what it is.
And the people in evening dress, men in black tie, women gown, all drinking champagne.
Their faces. Look at their faces. Look closely. Well, what do you see?
Why, their faces, they're all of them excited about something I can see. Yes, they all look as if they're expecting something very exciting to happen at any moment.
They are. But not at any moment. Not until 8 sharp.
What happens at 8 sharp?
That you'll find out at 8 sharp. In the meantime, let me introduce you to one or two members of our club.
Oh? It's a club?
Yes. A very select club, Mr. Harris. Oh, Mr. Malthus, may I introduce Mr. Harris, a new member?
How do you do? How do you do? Correction, though. I'm not a new member yet.
He will be, Mr. Malthus. He will be.
See you a minute, Director.
Of course, Lucas. Excuse me, gentlemen.
Lucas called Mr. Smith director.
Yes. We all do. He's the director of our little club.
I see. Mr. Malthus, what kind of club is this?
You don't know?
No.
Then why are you here?
To tell you the truth, I'm not exactly sure, except... Well, Mr. Smith, your director, promises I'll experience the thrill of my life, the supreme gamble, he calls it.
It is that, Mr. Harris.
These people, you're here because you like to gamble?
Oh, no. No, not at all. I don't in the least like to gamble. No, I'm here because I'm a coward.
A coward? What do you mean?
Just that. I'm a coward. I'm afraid of...
Well, I see you two have become acquainted. But I'll take our new guest away from you now, Malthus. I see Iris Lawrence sitting all by herself as usual. Come along, Harris. I'll introduce you.
Wish me luck tonight, Director.
I do indeed, Malthus. I do indeed. Iris, let me introduce our latest member, Mr. Victor Harris.
I'm not a member, Mr. Smith.
Director. Call me Director from now on.
No offense, but I'll call you what I please until I am a member, if I am.
I doubt that you will be, Mr. Harris.
Why, Iris, what do you mean?
Just what I say. He doesn't look like one of us.
Oh, but he is. In a different way, for a different reason. I'll leave you two together. I've got to prepare a fresh deck of cards.
I don't think I got your last name, Mrs.
Miss Iris Lorne.
Well, you said that I don't look like one of you.
You don't.
Where's the difference?
Your eyes. In your eyes. That seems to puzzle you, Mr. Harris. Look into my eyes. Look deep. What do you see?
Sadness. Yes. Great sadness. The sadness of
death.
Death?
I'm dead, Mr. Harris. I've been dead for years.
Oh, I'm afraid I don't understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention. It is time. Gather around the table, please. Our director will now deal the cards.
To Mr. Cranes, the two of hearts. To Mr. Shaw, the 8 of diamonds. Mrs. Harper receives the 4 of clubs. Next card to Mr. Burke, the 9 of spades. Miss Russell this time. Next card to Mr. Wolfson, the ace of spades.
Here.
Since Mr. Morley has already drawn the ace of clubs, The game is ended. Mr. Wolfson, Mr. Morley, I will see you both in my office as soon as I've completed my business with Mr. Harris. This way, Mr. Harris. Oh, Lucas, champagne all around as usual.
Yes, Director.
Well, sit down, Mr. Harris. Drink?
Thanks, no. Just tell me, what's this all about?
Have you ever thought of committing suicide?
No, I've never thought seriously of suicide.
Well, many do, you know. Think of it seriously, that is. And some of these, quite a few, do take their own lives. But you'd be amazed, Mr. Harris, at how many people there are in the world who want to kill themselves. In fact, yearn to kill themselves, but haven't the nerve to do it.
So?
We do it for them.
You...
To put it more aptly, we arrange it for them once they become members of the club. The Suicide Club, we call it. Think of the gamble, Mr. Harris. The supreme gamble of your life. Think of the thrill of each night, staking your life on the turn of a card. Not a momentary thrill, but one that will make each day worth living because it may be your last.
The ace of spades. The ace of clubs.
Simple. Whoever in each nightly deal receives the ace of spades is killed. Everything, of course, is arranged to make his or her death appear accidental.
The ace of spades, the person killed. The ace of clubs,
the one who does the killing.
Then one is the victim, the other is murderer. Huh. You spoke of a fee.
Unnecessary evil, I'm afraid. The club's overhead is high, extremely high. Accordingly, so is the fee.
Which is?
Half your estate. Half of what you own.
Half?
That may sound unreasonable to you at first, but it all balances out, you see. What I mean is, there are members of the Suicide Club who have large estates, vast wealth. But at the other extreme, there are some who have virtually no estate, no money at all. Miss Lorne, for example. Iris, you met her. Practically penniless. She was quite well-to-do when she joined some time ago, but luck, the cards, has been against her. And in the meantime, she has spent everything she had on her habit.
Drugs. She's a drug addict.
Which is why she wants to die. It's the only solution to her problem.
What a shame. She's so lovely. Her life could be so worth living.
But isn't. Not anymore. Well, now, Mr. Harris, I promised you the greatest thrill you've ever had. I promised to cure your boredom with life for the remainder of your life. I'm ready to keep that promise with, as I said last night, the supreme gamble. Sign here. Yes?
I'd like to think it over.
You know what your decision will be. You're a compulsive gambler, Mr. Harris. Whether you join the Suicide Club now or later, you will join. I know it. You know it. To be bored is to be dead, as you so well know. Why not live a little? Why not sign? Now?
Why not? Yes. Why not?
Compulsion, psychiatrists say, is another word for decision. Deep in the very core of his being, a person has made a decision that gambling, drinking, whatever may be ruining his life, is somehow necessary to his happiness. Bored, weary of a life of compulsive gambling which has lost its stimulation, Victor Harris, wealthy man about town, has joined the Suicide Club. Other members have joined because they want to end their jaded lives, but cannot bring themselves to do so. And so, it must be done for them. Victor's reason is different. A gambler who cannot stop himself from gambling, he has decided to take the supreme gamble. His life on the turn of a card.
Your first night, Harris. Bon chance. Good luck.
I'm not quite sure how to take that, Mr. Beg pardon, Director. I'm staking my life on the turn of a card. I grant you I'm a compulsive gambler, but my life? I wasn't quite prepared for anything like that when I came here for the first time last night.
I hope you're prepared now. We play in less than 5 minutes. Why not wander about, become better acquainted with your fellow members?
I'll do that.
Oh, and by the way, it's customary for new members to order champagne for everyone.
Oh? Well, I'll be more than glad to.
Lucas, champagne all around. On Mr. Harris.
Yes, Director.
See you at the table, Harris.
Yes. Miss Lorne, may I join you?
Oh, Mr. Harris. Please do. So, you did join?
Yeah, even though you said that I wouldn't.
I didn't say that. I said that you shouldn't. But even when I said it, you had no choice.
No choice?
Once you accept our director's invitation to pay this place a visit, you've had it. There's no turning back. No way.
Why not?
You'll find out. I did.
What do you mean?
He doesn't run this place for kicks. Or maybe he does, in a way. But what he's really after is your money. And according to the grapevine, we have one here, too. You've got plenty.
Well, according to the grapevine, you have none. You're penniless.
Now, yes. I was worth well over 100,000 when I joined almost 6 months ago.
And?
Oh, well, a lot of it, I don't know how much. I don't keep count. Went for heroin. Well, of course, you know I'm on dope.
Yes. And I'm sorry.
You? Sorry? For me? You're hooked as badly as I am. On gambling, they say.
I'm afraid that's the truth.
A habit. You can't kick. Just as I can't kick mine.
Look, Miss Lorne, Iris, if I may, I made a decision to join the Suicide Club last night. I can make the decision to leave it, too.
Can you?
Well, of course I can. Why do you say,
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention. It is time. Gather around the table, please. Our director will now deal the cards.
The tray of spades to Mr. Dowling. For you, Mrs. Cranes, the 4 of clubs. For Mr. Malthus. For Mr. Malthus, the ace of spades.
Oh. I've won at last.
Mr.
I won.
Malthus.
I've won.
Mr. Malthus, remember the club rules. Control, Mr. Malthus.
But
Control.
I've won. This will be my last night on Earth. After all this time, my last night.
Mr. Malthus.
I beg pardon, Director. I truly beg pardon.
Let us go on. Mr. Robinson, 8 of diamonds. Miss Feitzen, 2 of spades. Mr. Whalen, 9 of hearts. Mr. Harris? Ah, Mr. Harris. Your first supreme gamble.
Yes.
What card shall it be, do you think? Here it lies on top of the deck. What shall it be?
Well, it can't be the ace of spades.
True.
Well, what is it?
I don't know. I haven't looked. Enjoy yourself, Mr. Harris. Feel the excitement of not knowing. Live the supreme thrill of wondering. What is this next card?
Turn it.
Why don't I put it aside and draw the others?
Turn that card.
As you wish. It's a club, Mr. Harris. The ace of clubs. Mr. Malthus, Mr. Harris, you will join me in my office in 5 minutes.
I'm no murderer.
You wanted a thrill you're about to find, I'm afraid.
Be seated, please. You there, Mr. Malthus. Mr. Harris, here.
When shall it be, Director? When is my moment to come? How shall it be done? And where?
Patience, Mr. Malthus. Patience. Your suicide will take place tonight at approximately 10:30. Is that satisfactory?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed.
Good. Now, here are your instructions and a map to go along with them. This straight line represents the Uptown Express platform of the IRT subway at 42nd Street.
Yes.
This arrow indicates the direction from which the Uptown Express train will come into the station. At 10:30 tonight, you are to stand at precisely this spot that I've marked with an X.
X marks the spot.
Yes. Now, the platform will be filled with the after-theater crowd. You will take up your position at this spot and stand at the very edge of the platform. Clear?
Very.
Goodbye, Mr. Malthus. And Godspeed.
Goodbye. And thank you for all you've done.
And now, Mr. Harris?
I have no intention of going through with this. I'm no murderer.
Of course not. When you push Malthus in front of that train, you'll not be murdering him. You'll be doing him a service. Like all our members, he wants to die, but he hasn't the nerve to kill himself. You will simply be doing it for him. And that, as I see it, is not murder.
I see it differently.
That's too bad, Mr. Harris. I'm sorry, but frankly, there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, I think there is. I'm resigning from your club right now. Goodbye.
Mr. Harris, no one resigns from the Suicide Club. No one ever has. No one ever will. I couldn't possibly run that risk.
You have my assurance that I'd never say a word about...
Assurance. Assurances. What are assurances to me? No, Mr. Harris, there's only one assurance you can give me that I can possibly accept. Your death. Or, more properly, your suicide.
This is madness.
Perhaps. But if it is, it's only another form of madness, Mr. Harris. Like, say, compulsive gambling.
I won't argue with you further.
No, you won't. I've had enough of your argument. You know what you have to do tonight. You know where and when. Do it. Do it, Mr. Harris. For if you don't, I promise you'll wish you had. And as you already know, I keep the promises I make.
Mr. Malthus. Mr. Malthus? What? Mr. Harris, you're just in time. The express will be along in a minute or two.
Listen to me.
Oh, we really shouldn't be seen talking together. Just stand behind me, and when the right moment comes...
Listen to me. I'm not going to kill you.
You're not?
I can't.
Well, you must. I can't do it either. Why do you think you're here?
To save you if I can.
Well, save me.
You don't want to do this. You don't really want to take your life.
You're crazy. Of course I want to do it. But I can't. I haven't the nerve. You must do it. You must.
No, we'll go somewhere and talk.
Talk? The train. You can see the lights far down in the tunnel. It's coming. It's coming. Oh, you will do it, won't you?
I can't. I've got to get away from here. I've got to get away.
Victor? Victor Harris.
Iris, what are you doing here?
I followed you.
Why?
Because I had this feeling.
Malthus! He must have found the nerve to do it himself.
No, Mr. Harris, I did.
Lucas, you shoved him?
The director figured you'd lose your nerve. It happens sometimes, and when it does, I take over. Well, see, you And you, Miss Lauren, at the club tomorrow night. 8 sharp, as usual.
You got it wrong, Lucas. You won't see me tomorrow night or any other night.
You got it wrong, Mr. Harris. If you don't show up tomorrow night, there won't be any other night. Not for you or Miss Lauren.
As Victor Harris watches Lucas vanish quickly into the crowd, surely he begins to realize what his compulsion to gamble has brought him to. To what? Why, to certain death, wouldn't you say? I would. Yes, you, listening to my voice, are Victor Harris, or, depending on gender, Iris Lorne. If you are Victor, you join the Suicide Club for a thrill. If you are Iris, you joined because you were sick of life and wanted someone to do for you what you could not do for yourself, commit suicide, kill you. But whether you are Victor or Iris, you begin to wonder if you've made a mistake, a fatal mistake, now that it's too late. And so now, Victor, Iris, you are in a secluded cocktail lounge.
Iris, I don't understand.
What more can I say? I've made it plain enough. I followed you, Victor, because I couldn't bring myself to believe you'd kill Mr. Malthus.
And intended to stop me if I tried. Now, that's what I don't understand. Why did you intend to stop me? Well?
You won't believe me.
Try me.
I love you. I told you you wouldn't believe me.
Well, it is a little hard to believe. We only met last night. In fact, we haven't spent much more than, 20 minutes at most in each other's company.
Well, how long does it take to fall in love?
I don't know.
I do. I found out when I met you last night. You don't believe me, do you?
I believe you mean what you say, but...
But what?
Look, we're both compulsive personalities. With me, it's gambling. With you, drugs. That means neither of us is totally in control of ourselves.
I love you, Victor Harris. It's as simple as that. And that's all there is. I love you.
Well, I'm honored and flattered. Iris, I mean that. But I'm afraid I don't feel the same way about you.
Oh, that's all right?
No, it isn't all right. I wish... Oh, well, what's the sense of talking about what I wish or don't wish or anything? We're in trouble, Iris. Real trouble. And what we'd better start talking about is how to get ourselves out of it if we can.
Do you think we can?
We can sure try. We'd better try. It's that or death. Waiter, check, please.
What are you going to do?
The only thing I can do. Go to the police. Lieutenant, that's the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
You don't sound as if you believed us, Lieutenant.
Tell me something, Miss Long. How long you been mainlining?
Mainlining?
You know what I mean? It's written all over you. Your eyes, the nose twitching, the long-sleeved dress. Pull up that sleeve and let's have a look.
It's no need. It's true.
Okay. What about you?
Me?
What are you on? Uppers, downers, mescaline?
I'm not on anything. I'm no drug addict. Look, Lieutenant.
Sounds like a pipe dream. A suicide club. Now, Mr. Harris, I've heard some far-out stories, but yours is... it's outer space.
I see. In other words, you don't intend to do anything.
We'll check it out, but word of advice?
Yes?
You and her. Kick the habit and try to get your feet back down on earth. Huh?
got to go to my place.
Oh, no, we're staying right here in this church till I figure out our next move.
I got to have the fix. I'm going out of my skull.
It's that bad.
Oh, you just don't know. Vic, I've been almost 24 hours without one. We've been running all day. Central Park, Radio City Music Hall, now this church.
We couldn't go to my place or yours. The director, Lucas, they're sure to be looking for us.
I can't stand it. I can't.
You don't have to, Miss Law.
What? Lucas?
Right here in the pew behind you, Mr. Harris. Here, Miss Law. It's just a skin pop, but it'll hold you till we
Oh,
get...
give it to me, give it to me. Oh, no.
Something wrong.
Not in a church. I won't. Not in a church.
Suit yourself. Let's go. The director is waiting. You heard me, you two.
Come on, Iris. And Iris.
Yes.
Good girl.
Mr. Harris and Miss Lorne, Director. Come in, come in. I was a bit worried about you two. Going to the police, revealing all about our intimate little club.
How do you know that we...
Had a visit today from a Lieutenant McPhee. He didn't mention you by name, but I have reason to suspect you know him. Big fellow, 6'2", shoulders like an ox. And not very bright, I'm afraid. Not very bright at all. Lucas showed him about. I couldn't be bothered. Lucas, tell them what happened.
Nothing happened. I showed him around. Just a private residence. What else?
As you say, what else? Well, now, champagne for you, Mr. Harris. And this for you, Miss Lorne.
I don't want your champagne. And she doesn't want that. Do you, Iris?
Why not? Why shouldn't I? I'm dying for it.
Then here, my dear.
Iris, no.
Oh, Vic.
Iris, no. Please.
I can't help myself. I'm all alone. I've been alone and I need something to comfort me.
Come here. Into my arms. Come.
Oh, Vic.
Come. I'll comfort you, my darling. I'll comfort you.
Well, how touching. How altogether. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this since the Suicide Club opened. Have you, Lucas?
No. No, I haven't.
However, life must go on. Or to be precise, death. And it is time for our evening ritual. Come, Miss Lorne, Mr. Harris. Our little game of cards awaits us. For Mr. Dowling, the 5 of diamonds. Mr. Whalen, the 9 of hearts. Mrs. Lawton, the ace of diamonds. Mr. Whalen, the deuce of spades. For Miss Lorne, Iris, the ace of clubs.
Oh, Victor.
Steady.
For Miss Feitzen, the 8 of hearts. Mr. Hanson, the 10 of hearts. For Mr. Harris, the ace of spades. That ends the play for this evening. Miss Lorne and Mr. Harris will join me in my office, please.
Victor, I feel sick. I think I'm going to say...
Miss Lorne, wait. Where are you going?
To the powder room, you fool. She's sick.
Mrs. Lawton, do what you can for her. In my office, Mr. Harris. Well, now, Mr. Harris. It appears that Dame Fortune has frowned on you tonight. Regrettably, you have just experienced the final gambling thrill of your young life.
You arranged it, didn't you? You filth.
Now. Manners, Mr. Harris. No name-calling, please.
Smith, you're not going through with this.
Oh, yes?
I don't intend to die tonight or any other night for a long, long time. I'm resigning from this insanity you call a club. And so is Miss Lorne.
You know, really, if I hadn't the slightest idea you were going to be this wearisome, I'd not have let you join in the first place. I have already told you that we have but one form of resignation from the Suicide Club. Death.
Well, let me just tell you...
Enough. Your instructions are to leave here immediately and return to that elegant penthouse apartment of yours. Go to your apartment and stay there. And oh yes, if you have any idea of seeking help, such as going to the police or anything of that nature, don't. You will be very closely watched from the moment you leave. And any attempt to disobey my orders will result not only in your death, but Iris Lorne's as well.
Oh, Victor, what can we do?
Your instructions. Just how are you to kill me?
Kill you? I could never kill you, you know that.
But what instructions?
Just to come here and wait, that was all.
That settles it. They're going to kill us both.
What makes you think?
I was followed until I got here. The first thing I did was to call the police, or try to. The phone's dead. I had a gun in my desk drawer. It's gone. They'd been here, and they didn't miss a trick. And now, just telling you to wait. All right. We're trapped.
Oh, dear Lord.
Hang on now. We're going to the police.
Oh, we'll never get there. I was followed here, just as you were. They're watching our every move.
We can give it a try. It's a gamble.
Oh, Victor.
I just lost.
God, what are we going to do?
What can we do?
We won't answer.
No, that won't do any good. They've got a key. I'm sure. Now, look, there's just one chance. You answer the door. I'll stand behind it. And, well, Lord knows, I'm not much when it comes to fighting, but I can try. Go ahead. Open it.
Thank you, Miss Lorne. I was just about to use my key. Okay, I come in?
I can't stop you, Lucas.
No, you can't. And how about you coming out from behind the door, Mr. Harris? It wouldn't have done you any good anyhow. You're no match for me.
It might have been worth a try.
The director has given me his orders, and I'm here to carry them out. Everything can be done fast and easy if you cooperate.
And if we don't?
Don't give me a hard time, Mr. Harris, please. You got the ace of spades tonight. Miss Lorne got the ace of clubs. Following the club rules, Miss Lorne kills you. And this time we make sure it looks like suicide.
I won't do it. I won't do it.
You'll do it. Or there's going to be one little change, one little difference tonight. After you kill Mr. Harris, after he commits suicide, you might say, you're going to commit suicide too.
What do you mean?
Let's all go into the kitchen and find out.
Why, the kitchen?
That's where the stove is. The gas stove.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Move, Miss Lorne.
Look, Lucas. Look, you're being stupid. One suicide, the police will buy that. But two...
You never heard of a suicide pact between lovers? It says so right here. See?
What?
That's the suicide note you're leaving. See, it's typed, but signed Iris Lorne, Victor Harris.
There are signatures. How did
they forge them? The contracts we signed.
Just put the note on the table there, No. Don't just toss it there. Fold it neatly and... One chop at the back of the neck. He'll be out a long time. In fact, he won't be coming back. And now, Miss Lorne, turn on the gas.
No.
Miss Lorne.
I won't do it. I can't.
Let's see now. Drag her into his arms. Put his arm around her. Like so. Good. All we need now is the gas.
Okay, Eddie, he's coming around. Feed her again with the oxygen. Okay, Mr. Harris, snap out of it. Come on now.
Where?
Breathe deep. Come on now. Deep. Atta boy. That's the way.
Iris.
She's coming around fine. It's going to be okay, just like you.
Lieutenant McPhee, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, how did you...
I'm not as dumb as I look or act, Mr. Harris. I kind of put it on, you know, an act. Throw a lot of characters off their guard that way.
Smith didn't fool you.
No, I fooled him. When that guy Lucas took me on a tour of the house, I saw a lot more than he thought I saw.
Well, what could you have seen?
That big round table in the middle of the room. Oh, there was a vase of flowers on it, and like that, but there's a circle worn in the rug around the table, and nobody admires flowers that much, Mr. Harris. Oh, and I checked the sanitation boys and heard about the dozens and dozens of empty champagne bottles they picked up 3 times a week. All that, plus the accidental death of Mr. Malthus, as you described it. Oh, sure, I checked on that, of course. Well, it all added up.
You had us followed.
You and the lady have been tailed practically since you left headquarters. Okay, Eddie, she's had enough. Come on, little lady. Come on. Come on now.
Oh, Victor.
Iris.
Oh.
Iris.
She's going to be okay. Oh, by the way, Mr. Harris, you'll be glad to know we got a confession out of Lucas and Smith. And that's the end of the Suicide Club.
Oh, it's the end of something else, too.
Yeah? What?
My compulsive gambling. I'll never make another bet as long as I live.
Victor Harris never did gamble again. The Suicide Club cured him of that. And, oh yes, it cured Iris Lorne of drug addiction. Although I'm not so sure it wasn't having someone to live for, someone to love. They're married now. Victor never had a chance. Comes to that, what man has? Our cast included Barry Nelson, Marion Seldes, John Barragray, Dan Ocko, and Lloyd Batista. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Preceding Mystery Theater program is furnished by the CBS Radio Network. This is WOR New York and RKO General Station. It's 8 o'clock. Here's John Scott with the news.
Now it is time to go back to Dodge City with Gunsmoke.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. And the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful. And a little lonely.
You'll be all right, Matt. The fever is broken.
Thanks, Doc. When do you think you'll be able to travel?
Oh, day or 2, or 3, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
You'll pick up fast.
Tom's strong, and he's very young.
Yeah.
He's been a mighty sick boy, though. Mighty sick. He must have been in terrible shape all through the trial.
Well, he's in worse shape now.
Now, man, I just told you, he's going to be all right.
That's not what I mean, Doc.
Oh, well, yes, of course.
Not much future for him, is there? No matter how well you fix him up.
No, I guess not. Say, Matt.
Yeah.
Do you really think he did it?
The court found him guilty.
I know, Matt, but he seems like such a nice boy. It's hard to believe.
I'm not supposed to believe, Doc. All I'm supposed to do is what the law says.
Yes, I guess you're right. When do you deliver him to Hayes City?
As soon as he's able to travel. Funny thing.
How's that?
Getting the kid in shape so that he can ride to his own hanging.
Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, what is it, Chester?
Well, that fella's outside there. He wants to see you.
What fella?
That Romy Hawkins, the one that spoke up against young Maury at the trial.
No. All right, Chester, tell him to come in.
I'll be going along then, Matt. I'll look in on the boy in the morning.
Yeah.
Mr. Dillon says you can come in.
You want to see me, Hawkins?
The doctor's been here, hasn't he?
Now, you just saw him leave, didn't you?
Something wrong with the prisoner?
Is that what you came to see me about? Tom Maury's health?
Well, no, Marshal, it isn't that.
What is it, then?
Well, Marshal, it was my understanding that you were to deliver the prisoner to justice without delay.
That's what the law says, yeah.
Then, sir, I find it hard to understand why Tom Maury is still here.
Are you in a hurry to see him hung?
He's a condemned man, Marshal. I take the citizen's responsibility.
Your responsibility ended at the trial, Mr. Hawkins.
No delay is justified.
Now, you listen to me. Your part in this ended 2 days ago when you testified in court. Tom Maury's in my charge now.
It's my duty,
Not anymore, it isn't. The boy will get to Hayes City all right, and he'll get to his hanging. But how he gets there and when he gets there are up to me. You understand that?
I have a citizen's right.
And I've got work to do. Chester, open the door for Mr. Hawkins. I think he's leaving right now.
Yes. Now, Marshal?
I said you're leaving, Mr. Hawkins.
Had enough breakfast, Tom?
Yeah, thanks.
Feeling better this morning, are you?
Some, I guess. What day is this?
Well, it's Thursday.
Oh?
Oh, I don't wonder you lost track. Out of your head with the fever and all.
Yeah, that's what Doc Adams told me. Is the marshal here this morning?
He's out to breakfast right now. Ought to be back before long, though.
I'd like to see him.
Oh, sure. I'll tell him. Oh, that's probably him now. I'll fetch him. You wait here.
I ain't going no place.
Oh. Mr. Dillon, I was just coming to fetch you.
Oh, something wrong?
No, sir. Leastways, I don't think so. Tom wants to see you.
Is that so, Tom?
Yeah, Marshal, if you've got the time.
Oh, sure. What's on your mind?
Mr. Dillon, I'll just take his dirty dishes out.
All right, Chester. Now, what can I do for you, Tom?
Marshal, we'll be riding up to Hayes City pretty soon.
Yeah, that's right. Tomorrow, if Doc says you're able.
I'm all right. I don't have to be in very good shape for that trip.
I'm not taking you up there, Tom, till you can stand straight.
Thanks, Marshal. I'd like to ask you something.
Sure, go ahead.
You think I did it? You think I killed that man?
Well, the court says you did. I'm bound by that.
But you yourself, Marshal, do you think I did?
I'll admit I don't want to think so, because I like you. But in my job, Tom, a man can't afford to like people.
But I didn't shoot him. I swear I didn't.
And I've got to remember that Romy Hawkins stood up in court and swore that you did, that he saw you do it.
Romy Hawkins, he's a man with a lie in his belly. He couldn't have seen me, Marshal. I wasn't even there.
You're a convicted man, Tom, and I got to do what the law says.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, anyhow, I want to thank you for treating me decent and getting Doc Adams and acting like I was at least human.
It seems to me you got very little to thank anybody for, Tom.
Marshal, I got a letter here. I wrote it to my dad. He's over in Missouri.
You want me to mail it to him?
I'd be obliged if you would. But not till it's over.
Sure.
I'm hoping he don't hear about it till then. We had some plans about the planting. I wanted to write him about. And there's a little money.
Yeah, sure, Tom. I'll take care of it for you.
Well, I guess that's about all. And Marshal?
Yeah.
I didn't do this thing. But like you said, I'll try to stand straight.
Matt, it's just awful.
Yeah, I know, Kitty.
I wish the witness hadn't been a little weasel like Romy Hawkins. He seems to enjoy it so much.
Has he been in here?
Oh, sure. A couple of times a day.
Yeah. He doesn't look like a drinking man to me.
Oh, he doesn't take a drink, Matt. He just comes in to make sure everybody remembers he was the key witness at the trial. I don't think he ever felt so important in his life. Hawkins should have been born a buzzard, feeding on another man's killing.
There's Doc, Kitty.
What?
Hey, Doc, over here.
Yes, Matt, how are you? Hello, Kitty. Say, Matt, I thought maybe I'd find you here.
How are you, Doc?
Sit down, Doc.
Oh, thank you.
What's on your mind?
I've just been at the jail, Matt, checking Tom Morey over.
Well, how is he today?
I'm sorry to say he's all right.
Able to ride?
Yes, Matt, he is.
Well, I guess I can't put it off any longer. I'll leave tomorrow morning at sunup.
Matt, can't you do something?
Kitty, it's a sorry thing, all right, but there's nothing anybody can do about it.
Not since Romy Hawkins spoke his piece.
Hawkins was a legal witness, Kitty.
Oh.
You know, it's a funny thing about him, Matt. I keep thinking I've seen him someplace before, but I can't remember where.
Now, you take my advice, Doc.
How's that?
Best thing to do about Romy Hawkins is to forget him.
See you ride in.
No, welcome back there, man.
Hello, Chester. Doc.
We thought you wasn't never going to get back.
Have you two been sitting here in front of the office playing checkers ever since I left?
No, sir. I've been tending things just like you said.
You've been advising him, I suppose, huh, Doc?
Well, now, Matt, it seems to me that you'd be the last man to speak up against a little relaxation in the middle of the day. I was just keeping your chair warm for you.
Oh, I could use a chair. Thanks.
Hard trick?
Yeah, trips like that are always hard done.
Oh, I know, Mr. Dillon. I surely do. Did everything go off all right? Oh, I mean...
Yeah, it went off all right, Chester. The boy was hung.
Marshal?
Goodness.
Marshal Dillon?
What do you want now, Hawkins?
I see you've returned from Hayes City, Marshal. I just wanted to know if everything had been carried out all right.
I told you it was my responsibility. Now, if you want the details, why don't you ride up to Hayes City and get them?
But you were gone so long, Marshal. Really longer than necessary. I couldn't help wondering.
Well, it's done, Hawkins. The boy's dead.
Well, it was just that I didn't know it'd take so long.
Well, it takes a while to hang a man, even if he's only a boy.
Now, look, Marshal. I'm an important witness, and you're a public servant.
I'm not your servant, Mr. Hawkins, and don't you forget it, and the trial's over. Now, can't you get that into your head? You're not an important witness anymore.
Well, now, Marshal.
Why don't you get away from here? Right now.
Well...
My, he's a nasty little fella. Bores in just like a chigger. He sure is a creepy one.
You better do his creeping somewhere else from now on.
Say, Matt.
Yeah, what?
I think I remember now where I saw that fella before.
Hawkins?
Yes. Yes, I'm sure of it. You remember when I took that trip down to Meade to take care of Moss Grimmick's sister?
Yeah, it was a year or so ago, wasn't it?
That's right. Well, Matt, I was there at the same time Judge Wharton was there on the circuit. And he was holding court.
Yeah?
Yes. And that Romy Hawkins, and I'd swear it was the same man. He was there, too.
Well, what was he up to that time?
Well, it's not very nice to think back on this, but he was a witness, Matt. Just the same as he was here.
You mean he was testifying against somebody?
That's right. And his testimony got the man hung.
I'm glad you're taking a little time off, Matt. I haven't seen much of you since your trip to Hayes City last month.
Well, I haven't been around much, Kitty.
I guess not. Anyway, I enjoyed the ride.
I enjoyed it, too.
I won't count on anything, you understand, but maybe we can do it again, huh?
Yeah, maybe. Wait a minute, I'll help you.
All right.
They got you down.
Thanks.
Hey, Moss. Moss?
All right, Marshal.
Yeah, take care of our horses, will you, Moss?
Sure thing. Enjoy the ride, Miss Kitty?
Yeah, sure did. It was great.
Good. Oh, say, Marshal.
Yeah?
Doc just brought his buggy and been out south of town. He was asking if I'd seen you.
Did he say what he wanted?
He didn't exactly say. Something about Ned Miller.
Ned Miller? Well, what about it?
I'm not sure, Marshal, but I think he's bad off. Anyway, Doc wants you to go out there.
Yeah, I will. Thanks, Moss.
Sure.
Come on, kid.
It'd be too bad if anything happened to Ned. He's a good man.
Yeah, well, we'll stop in at Doc's and find out.
Yeah, all right.
Marshal? Marshal Dillon?
I thought I told you to stay away from here.
It's about Ned Miller. I saw it. I know who did it.
Who did what?
Well, who shot him? It was a big man with a scar on his cheek. I'd know him anywhere. Riding a white-footed roan.
Now, wait a minute. Are you sure about this, Hawkins?
Of course I'm sure. I was riding by and I heard the shots. Saw the man right away. I could identify him easy.
All right, come on.
Where are we going?
Up to Doc's. I want to find out how bad Miller's hurt.
Sure, Marshal. Anything you say.
Kitty, you better go on down to the Long Branch. I'll let you know about this later.
Yeah, all right, man.
All right, come on, Hawkins. On up there.
Certainly, Marshal. Oh, hello,
Well, Matt, come on in.
Now, just a minute, Doc. I want to ask you something. I want you to listen very carefully. Have you told anybody but Moss Gremick about Ned Miller?
Well, no, I guess I told Chester.
Oh, and why did you do that?
In the Long Branch, I was looking for you. Took time to have a beer. Hawkins here will tell you he was there, too.
I wasn't listening to their conversation.
All right, Hawkins, all right. Now, what about Ned, Doc?
Well, he's in awful bad shape, Matt. Asked if you'd come out to see him.
Oh, what's the matter with him?
I saw who did it, all right.
You saw what?
What's the matter with him, Doc?
It's his leg, Matt. He cut it on the side. I don't think I can save it. You'd be lucky to pull through it all.
And he wasn't shot.
Shot? Why, no. I told you he cut his leg 3 or 4 days ago. By the time he called me, it was badly infected. It was a terrible-looking thing.
Yeah. Well, Hawkins here says that he saw who shot him. He says he could identify him.
Oh?
And that means you could testify against him, too. Couldn't you, Hawkins?
Well, Marshal, I guess I made a mistake.
Yeah, you bet you did. You weren't even out at Miller's place, were you?
Well...
Were you?
Well, no, Marshal, but you don't understand.
And you didn't see that boy, Tom Morey, shoot anybody either, did you? Well, don't just stand there. Why don't you answer me, did you? Did you?
Somebody had to pay for the crime. Somebody had to pay. I just held.
Well, Matt, he's crazy.
You can't say that to me. I'm a witness.
And you didn't see that man and me do any shooting either, did you?
But you see, Marshal...
Oh, sure I see. Just so you could stand up there and testify. You didn't care. You didn't care if it was the truth or if it was a lie or if innocent men died, just so you could stand up there with everybody's eyes on you and speak your piece. Your lying, murdering piece.
A man has a right to be important, Marshal. Afterward, they noticed me. They really took care of me.
Yeah, well, I'm going to see that they take care of you for the rest of your life.
Marshal?
As far as I'm concerned, you're as guilty as if you'd shot those men in cold blood, and believe me, you're going to pay for it.
Marshal, what'll they do to me?
I think they'll hang you, Hawkins. But you shouldn't mind that, because you'll be the most important man there.
Gunsmoke. Produced and directed by Norman McDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. The story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Marion Clark, with editorial supervision by John Meston. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell, Sam Edwards, and James Nusser. Harley Bear as Chester, Howard McNear as Doc, and Georgia Ellis as Kitty. This is George Walsh inviting you to join us again next week for another story on Gunsmoke.
Thank you.